but I don't know. It's just hard because of the way she is. But yeah, but thanks to that question, basically, I'd say like then, like she makes these questions, and then I mentioned how, well, like with my mom and my dad is a bit like, I mean, it's okay. It's not like we discuss or anything. It's just like that I feel very far from them. Like clearly they are into, like they it's very hard to talk to them. Like they don't understand many things. Like I I don't feel like talking to them either. Like I don't like, yeah, like let's say I feel very far from them. Like I don't think that we can have a very like a close relationship or anything like that. And then my sister started like saying that she thought the same, like for some years, like since she was a
No, sorry. So I
what?
just yeah, the habit. Carry on.
What do you mean?
Just
Uh,
the usual ideas that just kills me, especially when they say, "I used to be like this for some years." And it's, but of course, I don't know.
uh,
I don't know what she's trying to say. I don't know if it's the same. But
I
carry
mean,
on.
I think what she's trying to say basically is that um, I mean, she rejected them a lot also because of how she always thought that they would basically hate her for being lesbian and stuff like that, right? Like she was very
She was right.
sensitive about that, and
Nothing.
and so after her teenage, like during her teenage years and the years after when she was in uni and everything, she said that like she was very far from them. It's true, like my sister would always be in her room, like never spend any time with my mom or with my dad, and she would have discussions with my dad and blah, blah. And she said that that's true, and that but that since some years, according to her, um, to now, she decided to try. She used to this word like she she said that for her it was hard, but that she tried to engage a bit more and like talk more with them. And she said that especially my mom, like she has been very open with her, and she has told her many things her about her in general, her past
One
too,
second.
apparently. And
But did she specify why? She said that in the past few years she tried to
no,
talk to them.
I don't think she said why. It's just that
And you didn't ask.
she no, I didn't ask that. She she said that she was like she wanted to, like somehow, like she
Well, if
I don't know
she didn't
why.
say it, I'm wondering if it was said or if it was asked. But if it's not, then we
Mm,
cannot really know. But
mm, yeah, true. I can ask her that because
I mean, it's a little
I
bit out
didn't.
of the conversation now.
Mm, yeah, okay, but yeah, and then she was telling me how she got to know more, a lot of things, and but also admitted that it's true that when she talks, for example, to my mom or to my dad, I think anyway she mainly meant my mom, because my dad is not so open or about his life, I think, or I just don't think my sister even
I
asked
mean,
him.
he's not like your mom that just listens and says nothing.
No, I don't know. Like
Just
my sister was saying that she actually, like my mom was open, let's say, talking to my sister about her past and her views. Apparently, I don't know exactly what my mom has been telling her, but
that's the point. Don't be hard.
uh, yeah. Um, and she said that sometimes she talks to her and she this the um just listens to her and is like what the fuck, like like there is this part of my mom that she rejects a lot, and that she has, how you say, like she just doesn't like listening to. And like, for example, she put this example of how for example, with my brother's wedding, maybe they were on a call and my mom would start talking about the dress or stuff like that, and my sister was like, what the fuck, like that was not the topic she would like to talk about, right? Like, or she found that topic shit. But I don't think she told her that. It's just what she thought, or she disconnected, or like she didn't engage in those cases in the conversation. And she thought, like, she felt very distant from her too. But then, in other conversations, maybe she can see that she like she can know my mom better, like the things they talk and everything. Of course, I don't know exactly what she means, but she she mentioned something like how she has been, like, how my mom has been very depressed or stuff like that, and that she never told my sister, she never told us. And um I don't know, like, I don't know much about that. So um and yeah, so basically she said that she understands that I feel so far from them and that they don't understand, but that also she was like, but if you try, or that, like, because she tried, and then she could, like, she said that she's um I don't know exactly what word she used, but basically she likes what she has achieved, or what she has done with the relationship with my parents, apparently. Even though it's not so much or anything, but that she thinks is better than how it was before, like, because she basically just rejected them and didn't want to know much about them, and but didn't know either the bad or the good, or but now she knows more. Um, but yeah, but I told her that I find that um, difficult, and that I don't really know how to do that so much, or if I want to do that something like that, and that it feels still like there is gonna be this distance, and that I don't know, like, I don't.
What's difficult, and what is it that you don't know how to do?
um I think, like, what I meant is that it's hard to first have the energy, the will to try something like that, to try to know more about people that uh, seems each day like more and more depressing. Like, they seem farther and farther. Like, the more, it's not like the more you try, because I didn't really try, but it seems like, for example, like when what you did, or how um to me it seems like even with good things, or um things that are worthy, like, for example, a conversation with you or someone like you, like the way they reacted and the way they behaved since then, like what they showed to me is like very depressing, and like, to me, shows a bit like how um they are a bit useless in this aspect, like in trying to be better. But I mean, I'm not trying to be better, but trying, like, to make them understand certain things, or um so that after that it makes more sense, the relationship you can have with them, or that, I mean, um in this case, it's I didn't really try, like, it was because of you, um and it was you, um but yeah, what I saw, let's say, and I mean also how they are, of course, how they are towards me. And it's not like I haven't tried anything, like, I, for example, with my dad, I know how, like, how he basically cannot talk, like, he basically, you cannot talk to him about basically anything apart from a few things and in a few ways, because otherwise it's impossible to have a conversation with him. Or um, and then with my mom is more like, okay, you can try. What I imagine is more like, maybe my sister tries this thing of talking to her, and but I think what she gets sometimes, okay, if she talked about the dresses or stuff like that, yeah, she gets depressed and she thinks, oh, this is shit. But many other things my mom says, she wouldn't think that, maybe. So maybe that's why she can keep going. I think I have this sensation, or I mean, I can see it also in a bit, because my sister finds many things fine that to me they are not fine at all. So it's more like, if every time basically almost my mom opens her mouth or does something, or like almost every time is something that is very shit and depressing, then it's really hard. I would say, like, really hard um, to to invest a lot on that, or because it seems like, yeah, it's kind of useless. Um, so that's what I meant by, but I didn't explain it like this. So it was a bit, because it was very, I say, like, sudden conversation, that because of the girl that had asked, I didn't. I mean, I'm not right now. I don't feel like engaging much in conversations or in going deep, especially in conversations. I mean, I don't do that anyway with the people that surround me. So I try to avoid that, and um, at least, I mean, with my sister, it's more like I can see she has more potential, so I don't mind it so much. But what I mean is that I feel as if I'm not, like, every time this happens, it's like I'm not ready. Like, I always end up avoiding most of it. Let's say. Um, but still, I liked hearing what she said. Like, fuck, it's so warm. I'm gonna remove this robe. Like, I appreciated, like, that she seems to have some interest in me, in um okay, like, in sharing this thing with me, let's say, or being open. And also I can appreciate how she has worked on this thing, for example. Or but I mean, it's to me it sounds as if it was a survival thing. I don't know, like, uh, or like, I don't even know why she's doing that exactly. Like, it's basically what she what you pointed out since the beginning, that I didn't ask, like, why she thinks that's better. But it seems from what she said that she thinks it's better to now to have this kind of interest in, or to try this thing with my parents. But to me it sounds more like, okay, so they are her family and she cannot get rid of them. So, I mean, so, and since she has this, then she's gonna try something. Let's say, like, it's not like she's choosing so much, but um, yeah. But anyway, she actually mentioned something like she's trying this with more people. Like, it's not only something about my parents. Like, she's trying to do this with more people. And yeah. But to be honest with me, she hasn't.
I was gonna say. It's funny.
And I don't know, like, I think um like, she's scared, or of my of how she can affect me, or my reactions, or because it's weird. Like, to me, it's like, for example, is Alex her girlfriend? She asked me about you, right? And my sister barely asks me about you, but it's not like she doesn't ask you because she forgets. Like she clearly has it in her mind. She clearly, because sometimes she tells me, if you want to tell me something, that you can tell me. Like sometimes she's like, oh, if something happens to you, like if you have thoughts, or I don't know. I mean, she only said that these days because she was here, but maybe the other day, yeah, when I said these about when I discussed a bit with my mom about when she said, "Oh, smile for the picture," something like that, and I reacted a bit like very annoyed, and then my sister also told me something like this, like, "Oh, if
But they were taking a
something's wrong,"
picture
or
right there.
like in my living room, I think it was, yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it was in the living room, and yeah, basically what I told you, like that they like. I mean, my mom, it just gets. I have to say that she gets a bit sillier even in when it's night, and I think she drank a bit of like very little, but a bit of wine. It's not to excuse herself, but also she sounded like very confused. Let's say like when you say too many silly things that it's like I mean. But but I mean, she would have said that the same in other circumstances. I mean, not she. I don't think she ever said that, to be honest, before. To be fair, but it's something that she could have said, I suppose, in other circumstances. Um, but yeah, I mean, she basically she doesn't usually. She never takes pictures of me. Like it's not like she takes pictures of me. So it's not like we have so many chances. um, but yeah. And then yeah, and my sister said something or asked me something like that. Or what I mean is clearly, and because of I mean, you talked to her. Um, clearly, she knows that I have things in my mind. She knows that like how important you're for me. She knows all these things, that we are apart, that you live in another country. She knows all these things, so it's very easy. It's not just easy. I just know that she wonders about that. She doesn't mention it, and to me, I mean, I'm trying to think because maybe I'm lying, but I don't think so. Like I don't think she literally in these days she's been here. Maybe she's mentioned you once. Maybe I have mentioned something, and then she, something like that. Or if the other girl, like today, the other girl asks about you, then she says something and she keeps going. But if it's something like that doesn't happen, then she doesn't she doesn't start it. I think. Um, other times she has. I think it was maybe more noticeable this time, but other times maybe she has asked about you. The only one that does directly is my dad, to be honest. But I mean, not so much anyway. Like these days, only this time that he told me this thing about, oh, but don't, because he saw me he saw me writing on my phone and stuff, right? And he was like, what I told you, it's not New Year in London yet. You don't have to say Happy New Year yet. And I was like, what the fuck? I mean, he was trying to joke. I don't think he was completely serious, but at the same time, um, uh, he was trying also to maybe start a conversation, or who knows, who knows. But I said that I wouldn't do that. That doesn't make sense, basically. And that was all. And of course, my mom didn't say anything. And I doubt my brother, the other girl, think of you anything at all.
That's
But
insane.
I think the dog is the only one that actually is more interested.
Actually.
No, but no, but yeah, this is a bit. This is, let's say, something that is a bit weird, but at the same time makes sense in someone like my sister that is clearly so. Okay, she has this potential, but she's so scared of things. She's so scared of everything. Like she's scared of facing certain stuff or whatever, right? So
No.
um yeah, then yeah, I know it's just
Well,
um
but what about all this anyway?
what you mean? What about all this? No, just because I mean, because we talked. I mean, because maybe it was the only kind of real conversation. Like that was not just well, now that I'm thinking, um, she has mentioned to you like because when she has seen me playing with you, heard me playing with you, she has made some comments or stuff. But again, it's just yeah, it's just this because there's another thing that initiates that, let's say, or yeah. But yeah, no, I was just mentioning now this because it's I would say the only conversation I had for real with my sister, and it's kind of funny how it starts because of this silly girl asks something. I think it's yeah, it's kind of insane, but yeah, I mean, I'm not like I don't want my sister to initiate anything. It's like I'm the one that doesn't initiate anything either, and that I don't do that. And so just as but since we talked about that, and also we have wondered other times, like remember how I told you that apparently now my sister and my mom talk a lot, and how my mom sometimes tells me things about my sister that I didn't know, that she goes to therapy, blah blah. And I was wondering a bit about that, like that I told you, like what the fuck, like now they talk, or I don't understand. And apparently it's something that my sister is kind of doing on purpose, like that. But so basically that. But yeah.
Well, um, it's best if I don't really say much about these things for a number of reasons. The first one I would say is that clearly, at least what you bring me, the summary of what you said, or anyway, everything you said is very confusing, and there's literally for every sentence there's a road to explore. Basically, there's a lot of stuff to say, for a lot of questions to make, a lot of black holes that um, need answering if we want to even comment any of this. We cannot comment on what your sister does or what your sister recommends. We can kind of speculate. Of course, from what you say, what your sister recommends is potentially just shit. But again, we don't know where it comes from. We don't know how it goes. We don't know where it goes. So we don't know all of it. We know just little things, and it's once again I cannot even imagine the kind of conversations that you have. So like this conversation that you told me doesn't make any sense to me. I'm trying to imagine myself there in front of you and think of this conversation going on, and I cannot imagine it because it's like, but what are they even talking about? Like, it seems like, because of course it seems like a deep conversation, but how can a conversation be deep and face things if questions are not asked? Like, you know what I mean? It's like such a weird concept. Of course, I'm sure it's normal. I'm sure that if I were there, then I would be like, okay, this is silly, but I can see it. But from afar like this, it's kind of hard to see it. And
Hello? Hello? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. So, yeah, there's all these question marks that, of course, they can either go in a very bad way or in a normal way. Maybe even in a good way. It's very rare. It's very hard, especially for the few things that she already said. They don't point in a good direction, do they? And I don't know, like someone, like, again, I cannot say anything because we don't know. We just don't know anything. Like, we don't know what this conversation is, what your sister thinks, what she's doing. We can only comment a bit. We can only speculate, which is something that I just don't want to do. I just don't like doing. But just as an example, I can of course speculate that maybe she has tried this thing with your parents, probably pushed by her therapy, probably saying, oh, maybe you can try this, who knows, maybe she read it online, maybe she got convinced by some friends that it's the good thing to do. One of these things of this nature seems more plausible to me than anything that has to do with personal will and personal realization, like independent will, independent realization, which is already kind of hard anyway to prove, but it exists, and it can be proved. So, but yeah, it's so I already suspect that the way this thing starts from your sister. Well, most of the things she said, it's not focused on one thing, but most of the things that she said, like that he helped her, that she started it because of who knows what, that she has tried it with multiple people, all of these things have possible red flags and possible normal indications, and we don't fucking know unless things are asked when you discuss together, when you conversate. And even when you ask, it's already hard because, of course, you're asking for a version of events. She's not gonna tell you the truth. It's very unlikely. Maybe not because she's trying to lie, but because the truth is a complicated thing. And maybe she's gonna tell you, oh, because I wanted to. Maybe she's like, oh, I don't know why. When in reality, there's probably clear indications of where something started. And no, maybe not the clearest as fucking pure water, crystalline water, but probably some indications exist. And your system maybe just doesn't see them, or maybe they're just not ready to open up. So there's already a mess to deal with when the question actually gets asked. When the question doesn't even get asked, and that's why I'm like, what is this conversation that you have with people, that people have in general. And I'm imagining the usual conversations between people that, those when you are in a shop and you gossip about people, like those middle-aged people, usually women apparently. The stereotypical thing is that they gossip and the conversation starts from pretty much nowhere, or from a silly thing. And it goes in so many different directions that create just an enormous amount of things that could be discussed, could have some truth, but who knows where the fuck they're going. And it feels like those kind of conversations that you have with these people, feels like these conversations that don't have a start, don't have an end, and don't even have a process, because again, even in the middle, you're missing one of the most obvious things that compose a conversation, which is the question. So it's just a mess of sentences that and I cannot. That's what I'm struggling to imagine. Like, how can you have sentences without the topic, the question? But of course, it exists, and I'm confused just because it's a confusing thing. Even when you witness it, and when you witness it, it makes more sense apparently. But when you think about it, you're like, oh fuck, it still doesn't make sense. But yeah, witnessing it makes you feel like it makes any sense. But anyway, there's all this aspect, and then there's also this perception of yours that you say, I don't know what to try, and I don't want to try. I'm scared of trying. again, on this part as well, I can only comment so much, which is, I don't know what the fear entails, like where it comes from. I don't know what's there to be scared of. And then the fact that you don't want to face these things, I don't really understand why you don't want, but I can imagine. Suppose you don't want because you don't want to face certain topics. You don't want because of the way they have acted in other situations has showed you that they would not be prepared, let's say that, for certain conversations, certain topics. But this idea of not wanting for those reasons, I told you many times, I'll repeat it again, makes no sense. Because it's not like you don't want to because you're not interested. You don't want to because there's problems. And that is not something that I think should be supported or something that is good. Because first off, the problems, in this case, you are deciding it. They are unstable people and you haven't tried enough to be like, okay, they would all clearly be that. Maybe your dad can be said because your dad, you've had randomly, because it's just random that you've had more exposure. But randomly I say that he talks, you talk, the conversation starts. So by chance, you've had more exposure with that, so you could say with your dad, you know, it makes no sense, just keep trying. Great. But with someone like your mom, that is basically, again, a kid, again, it's like, I think it's a perfect example. It's like seeing a kid, and you see the kid failing 2 or 3 times at something. You're not gonna say, okay, I'm not gonna try anymore with the kid. You're gonna keep trying with the kid, right? Even if it's annoying or he doesn't get it, you're gonna keep trying because you know that he's a kid and he's gonna make mistakes, and you don't know whether maybe at some point he's gonna understand, he's gonna do it fine, or anything like that. So the outcome is gonna change randomly because he's a kid. And it's the same thing with your mom. So it's like, what kind of logic is this? Of okay, we give it a go. I didn't even give it a go. It's more like I witnessed some people give it a go, so I'm not gonna do it. It's still fine. It's still a reason that exists, but it's not fine on its own, I think. The main reasons not to try, not to want to try, should be other reasons, because they exist. But the point is, you're not mentioning them. You're not thinking about them. So we don't care about them if you don't thinking about them. So
I said I don't have the will or energy. Like I don't.
okay, that's another reason that I don't think is good enough. I'm saying that there exist reasons that are good enough and they are not dictated by the most primitive or simple limitations. So the one you just bring
No, but I
about the
mean,
energy.
but no, but what I mean by the will or energy is like when like considering our relationship, I don't like what is what I said. Like I don't want to invest. Like it doesn't make sense to me to invest all the everything, that energy and time that I would need for something like that. That seems so hard with someone like, for example, my mom. I don't want to invest all that on that because I
I think
have
this is
our relationship.
silly as well, for obvious reasons. So you're saying that you don't have the energy because of our relationship. We barely spend time together, Sofia. Like it's just a fact. On a material, on a materialistic side of things, look at us. We speak every now and then during the week. If we do, it's for an hour, maximum 2 hours. We don't speak more than that. We don't go over the 2 hours. And of course you work and your time is limited, so those 2 hours in the free time, in reality, they can be quite a lot. But the truth is that it's not even like that, because you don't only have 2 hours of free time per day. And again, we don't talk every day 2 hours, so your time, I don't know where it goes. And I ask you sometimes, I try to understand, but I objectively don't understand where your time goes. I know where mine goes, and it goes in the drain, and I know where it is. Like every hour, I know where I am. I don't know what the fuck you do, and um, not just that, but there is a time that whether you like it or not, whether we like it or not, we don't know why you spend with your parents. There is that time, whether it's every day or not, I don't know, but there is some time, whether you're eating or whatever. So the truth is, you have many different opportunities that have nothing to do with that relationship, because you're there, you're not with me, you're there. So it's nothing, it's just an excuse, I think. This idea of oh, our relationship is already taking a lot of time. Well, it should, but it doesn't. So it's no use saying, oh, because we are together. So that's one thing. The other thing is that even if we were to spend so much time together, it's not so hard to cut a portion of your time for them, since we are nowhere near that relationship of being always together. And at the same time, you don't have to be with them in a relationship that is like ours. I know that sometimes it seems like there's only our way of doing the relationships or their way, but the truth is there's many middle ways, which I find shit, but they exist, and I even myself I adopt them for certain relationships, still keeping in mind that they're shit, but I still adopt them because they are functional. So whether it's okay, with you, I don't have a deep relationship where we understand each other, where we love each other and stuff. But at the same time, I'm gonna try and have some contact, some kind of sharing on certain, at least, topics. That can be a type of relationship. Again, I don't like it personally, but they exist, they can be used. So I don't know, I don't see why that cannot be done to a certain degree with your mom, which is something, it's probably she wouldn't even be able to do more than that. She said it herself. She said it to me. Maybe with you, she would do something different because you are her little precious animalistic daughter. You came out of her, so it's different. It's you have a different treatment for that. So maybe she would be a little bit different. She would have more energy for you, and she would be more intense with you. But the point is, you don't even need to get to that point. She doesn't think about it. She's not prepared for it, maybe, and you don't need it. So okay, you can do what your sister did, basically, in a very simple way, because your sister doesn't do anything crazy. She probably just calls your mom twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, who knows. But the point is, once your mom is cold, she probably goes back to her life, and she has other things that she does, and a lot of time probably on her own and her friends, and other things that your mom has nothing to do with. So you can do very easily something similar. And again, I mean, I say easily, of course, from a more of a broad point of view, because of course, if Sofia has a problem with focusing on anything, and basically the 6 hours that she has free after work, she can only in reality utilize one, because 5 of them she can only walk slowly around the house and stare at the wall. Of course, that's yours personal circumstances. We have to look into that, I suppose, in some way. But on a general level, with someone that is a normal person that is not neither so capable nor so incapable, it's doable to keep relationships in a certain modest way, like discreet. Maybe modest is a little bit too much. So again, there's an entire world of things to say that we cannot say about your sister. There's another world of things to say on whatever the fuck you said to her, and whatever you actually feel anyway, because whatever you said to her, who knows what the fuck it is. But at least for you here now, we can be like, okay, Sophia, but what do you mean by fear? What do you mean by I don't want? What do you mean by I can't? And we can do that, and I mean, we are doing it already anyway, but and we can see what the situation is, I suppose.
But also, I mean, for me, it's hard to now that, let's say, I have let's say found out or whatever how someone like my mom really is all her capabilities or all that. Like, to me, it's hard not only for something like time or um. I mean, when I said energy, is also like how hard it is to um. I mean, for me, I don't know. There's something like what you said, like okay, so there, like to me, it's more like there's only uh, something like our relationship or something like their relationship. Like to me, it's hard to find other things, and
Why is
there,
that?
I don't know.
Well, then what are we talking about?
It's because I see. It's like it's what I told you. Like everything they do, every word they say, basically for me, is just very,
But what have I got
very
to do?
shit.
What have our relationship got to do anything with that? It's not like whether I exist or not, the things they say are not shit.
Como? I mean, for me, what do you mean?
You said there's either my relationship with you or my relationship with them, and it's because everything they say is shit. But everything they say is shit regardless of whether you're in a relationship with me or not.
Yeah, I know.
Then what the fuck are you saying? Like you're connecting these two sentences. It makes no sense. Like, why do you have either a
Wait.
relationship or the relationship with them?
No, no.
Is your sister still there?
Um, she went with the girl somewhere in the city, in Zaragoza.
When is she going away?
She went with the girl somewhere in Zaragoza. Like
When is she going
they
away?
went. Um, I think they're going. They're leaving tomorrow, but then she's coming back anyway, because she's on holidays for 2 weeks. So she's gonna come back eventually, because then she's gonna do this thing with me that I told you that she prepared some shit for the 10th or something like that. And so she for sure is coming back, and then she's finally leaving when she finishes her holidays. But tomorrow they're leaving to her girlfriend's house in Tarragona, like in where we went on holidays, basically, because she lives around there.
Well, so yeah, like why do you have a relationship and their relationship?
Um, I'm not sure. Like, what I think is that hmm, I don't know how to explain it. But it's as if I became very unstable, like in how I see everything else that is not like what you like what you have showed me that like what I think that now is something good. Basically, it's basically only linked to us, because then I with you I've realized many things that I didn't realize before, that I didn't think of before, or that I never faced before. And even though if we also before you I could get some feelings, right? Some feelings of negativity or bitterness or whatever, but I wouldn't dig on those, or I would maybe avoid them, reject them, or ignore them, or just treat them superficially. Um, Now it's more like uh, like the way that you show me that a relationship should be done to not be shit. Um, I've understood it. I mean, I know that I'm not the best of understanding, or but for sure I've seen a lot of that, and I have understood things, so that now everything else, like the way people are and everything, is just, to me, is very depressing. Like everything they do, like even just like going, just walking. Let's say walking, going anywhere or doing whatever thing, uh, is just very shit in my opinion now, and I can see it. Like it's objectively like that. So
I mean, I don't show how to do how relationships should be done. I don't like that choice of word at all. But I mean, I'm not gonna come and say, of course, oh no, there's things to appreciate. I'm the first one that says, of course, yeah, it's not great. It's not great. And as you said, even if they go for a walk, clearly, yeah, because it takes 2 seconds to be like, oh, you wanna go for a walk? Why? These reasons. Nice. That's how much it takes to not feel so much for someone's idea, initiative, thoughts, feelings, words, whatever it is. I'm not gonna come and say anything different to that. We're surrounded by that. I'm sure there's many people that think it like us, just like many people don't think it like us, and then say, "Oh, but there's appreciation in this. There's something good in this." And I, for one, I'm not at a level of you where you cry and you're depressed. You clearly take it personal. You clearly have some problems with this, whether it's because you don't realize yet how things work for real, or you don't realize yet many things, because it's like you take it, I don't know if you take it personal, but it affects you in a way that maybe you shouldn't, because it's like, when people are very scared of death, and it's like, I'm scared of death too, probably, but we probably shouldn't be scared of death. We probably shouldn't fear that, for many obvious reasons, but we still do, because of maybe we don't think about it enough, or we still see it in a way that is not clear as it should, even though we can kind of glimpse it, we can kind of see it from afar. And it seems like you're stuck there, because for me it depresses me a lot still, but probably in a different way from you. And I also focus on other things that are enough for me to not fall into that pits of despair or whatever. But at the same time, I don't think it's so complicated for you. I think it's more personal. I think it's more like you have an attachment to them. But this is me playing the psychiatrist, so I don't know. But for me, it's more like you have an attachment to your mom, to your dad, or whatever, and seeing that their shit is sad, basically. And it's like me towards you. It's like I have an attachment to you, and seeing that your shit makes me sad. It's like that's the one thing that I might think is the situation. But I don't know, maybe it's just you thinking in a very broad and complex way, and it's got nothing to do whether you have a relationship with them, that you've had somehow a relationship with them, or whatever that is. But
I think it's a bit like that. Like for sure, I'm not gonna deny that it's probably because of the attachment that we have. But also, like what I feel is a bit like sad for them, and I know that it's, yeah, again, like probably because of the attachment, but I know that I'm able to feel sad this way too for maybe random people, like, or
that's
people
not
that
that's not the
I
main
am
point. It's
not
like,
attached.
of course you should be okay. That's good that you feel sad for the people as well, but sadness is not the only thing that is reasonable to feel. That's the point. It's like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
makes
no,
no
I know. Like
sense that you
in my
feel so
case,
sad.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, I mean, it happens to me too. Like most days, especially being my own all the time and shut in and stuff, I look at myself and sometimes it doesn't happen so much, to be honest. But it does happen that I'm like, I might feel more down or more negative. But I think those feelings are misleading because they don't take into account other things. And if I take into account those other things, I don't want to say that those feelings completely disappear, although they do. But surely they help towards that, and it's not a matter of helping anyway, but it's a matter of thinking things that have some resemblance to what makes more sense, to what is closest to reality. And surely reality is not just, oh, how sad we are animals. There is a big part of that, surely, but there's other things that are, if they're not positive, they're at least a beacon of hope. Like they at least are a point of reference for being hopeful, to think, okay, we are animals, but at least we can be also other things. Maybe it's very rare, it's less common, it's harder, but that exists, and maybe that is source of, not want to say pleasure, I don't want to say happiness because it's very little, but at least hope, to say the least, or a bit of drive towards specific things.
What do you mean hope? Like in this case?
In the sense of, oh, I'm surrounded by shit, but maybe there's some people that are not so shit. So maybe that is not so bad. Like instead of all of us being shit.
Okay.
And there's,
but still, the fact that maybe one person is not shit, maybe I don't know, because I'm not
but
saying
it's not just
right,
one person.
but yeah, okay, well, the potential there's other people, like the possibility that there's not other people that is shit, but if, for example, in your life you could be like, okay, everyone is shit, but one person I know, two people are not shit, so that gives me hope or makes me feel better, let's say. But it also can be almost even something that it's, or even sadder, or like you can find also
Totally,
reasons for it to be even sadder,
of course.
like for those people, or for how that's done, like basically why there's someone that is like that and there's not, or
I totally agree with that, but at the same time, I'm not trying to say that you should be feeling hopeful. I'm trying to say that your thought process is not complete. So if you said these things to me from the beginning, I would have less to complain. But I'm complaining because you focus too much on the negative or absolute negative. There is stuff that sits in the middle, at least, or there is negative but not completely negative, or just negative. And again, for me, of course, I can see that it's easy to find mostly negativity, and most things lead to negativity because that's how it is. Because there's no reason. So if we are trying to say that the lack of reason, the lack of thought, the lack of care, lack of all these things that are derivative, they're not part of the most primitive instincts. So things that go away from primitive instincts are good. If we're trying to say that, we're basically saying that we're not going to find things that are easily good because these things don't exist. We just created them. We're just going against many things that don't facilitate these behaviors. I'm not trying to say that we created them from nowhere. They surely have some roots in nature, but not to the level we want. So for example, there is care in the world, okay? A cat cares for his own little kittens. That can be classified as care, but we don't like that. We're talking about care about another level that goes a little bit beyond that, and that is more created than natural. So it's not natural to be a saint. That's what I'm saying. So it's not natural to be, apart from maybe some people that have some vocation, who knows, I don't want to go into that, but even those people, who knows, it's not natural to be a saint. And we're trying to say basically, if we are not saints, we are shit. Then yeah, of course we're always going to be sad, because you don't have saints. But what I'm trying to say is that your sadness should be a little bit more reasonable. That's all. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be sad, but you're not sad in a reasonable way. And if you're not sad in a reasonable way, you're more fucked. If you are more fucked, the situation is this, where you are just a confused mess that walks around waiting for death, and we're not going anywhere, you're not going anywhere, and everyone with you will not go anywhere. It's just an effect. So there is a chance that even if you're a confused mess that walks around, you'll go somewhere, but that happens just by chance, and I don't know how much pleasure there is in that. But some people would argue that there is a lot of pleasure in that. Not that it matters anyway. But yeah, you sound once again very, very young on these topics, and I'm sure you're not just that. As you can see, you can reflect on these things, but it's like they take a grip of you, and they take a good grip of you, and it's a daily thing that you live. So it's like, okay, you keep living these things. When is it gonna come the time where you grow up, where you assimilate these things, you reflect on them, and you get to certain conclusions and shit? Because you're not gonna be saved by anything, because you're gonna live with them, and you're there. This lifestyle is yours. One day maybe we live together. That's not gonna be your salvation, because you're gonna go away. Maybe you're not gonna see them ever again. That's gonna have repercussions on you, because if you're a young kid, even if you run away, the running away is gonna have an effect on you. So the position of a kid, of someone that is not prepared, regardless of what you do, you're gonna be vulnerable. Again, it's not a big deal, but if we're saying that it's not a big deal, then life is not a big deal, and therefore we're gonna take it like we have been taking it lately, where we don't have any direction, we don't give a fuck, we just go with the flow, which is fine. I personally think is the best, but that's my personal opinion, that's my personal taste. I don't like this lifestyle. I don't like not having a direction of some sort. I don't like being stuck on the most primitive stuff, on the first steps, for purely, again, progression reason. But again, if you want to get stuck here, if you want to stay stuck like this for who knows how much more long, it's fine. It's not gonna change much. It's not gonna change. Again, it's gonna sound silly and very naive, but I think it's kind of true. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die. Your parents are gonna die. What's gonna change? Like, we tried to do something better, more reason, but we tried to get some answers. The most likely thing is that we're not gonna get to any answer that is very substantial. Again, I'm very satisfied by the few answers I got, by the few things that I discovered in my short life. Very satisfied by those things, and I have good reason to think that more can be discovered and more answers can be found, especially together, and blah blah blah. But there's a lot of reasons not to feel that way and not to think that way, and that leaves me with a very cynical idea, let's say, which is, again, this very simple idea that a teenager would probably say, which is, again, there's no need to be so serious about things, for the very simple statement that it's not gonna matter that much, other than hurting yourself and others. What's gonna do? Your silliness, your superficiality, your incapability, what's it gonna do other than hurting you and others? Not much more, is it?
We don't really know, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose we don't really know, but that's the most likely thing. One of the most likely things. So, just like it's true that not being silly, not being superficial will probably be beneficial for yourself and others around you. That's true, but it's very true to think. It's very reasonable to think. But they're both very reasonable to think. So you just pick your dish. So.
Yeah.
But the point is that you're not even in a position of picking your dish. I don't know why, because again, I don't think you were like this. I don't think you are normally like this. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if it's mentally, physically. I don't know if it's some natural thing, some disease, whatever it is. I really don't know. Because I mean, even right now, for example, maybe before you could say, "Oh, it's the pressure," blah blah blah. I don't think I possibly can give any pressure. If you still feel precious for me, unfortunately, I cannot do much about that because I literally told you can do whatever the fuck you want. I still engage with you. I I don't preclude so much. Of course, I preclude other things, but that's just a matter of even will. It's like I don't have the will or energy to be the most I can be, and but there is, despite that, we still do things together. We still are very fine, and you do whatever the fuck you want. Literally, it's just spend who knows how your time, take your decisions, whether I see them as poor or not. And of course, you don't do as much as maybe you would have done 2 years ago. Yeah, that's true. But probably if you did that, it wouldn't change anything. I'd still be the same. Where I'm kind of ready for you whenever you want. You go and do your things, you come back, and that's it. So even this idea of, oh, but I don't do as bad as I did you 2 years, it doesn't change anything. You could go and do that, and more than discussing a little bit about it and me still being somehow here, doesn't change anything. So again, I cannot give you more of less pressure than this. So I don't even know if it's from the pressure I might have given you. I don't know if it comes from the depression of the realizations that you've received. I don't know. We probably wouldn't be able to know. And all we know is that you're losing yourself in a very simple situation. That everything you're blocked on, there's a very simple answer, or simple answers. There's various simple paths to take, but you just cannot take them so much.
So you think it's like it really is so simple?
Very, very much. Very, very much. Everything, every question you might have, any doubts, any fear you have, there's an answer. You brought a fear today of like, oh, I fear of talking to my mom, of going and being interested in my mom. There's 100 answers. So again, the fact that you actually have time. You say, I don't have time, you have time, and we discovered that, and we can see that very easily. I don't have energy. Well, that's of course a thing that you have yourself. Who knows how the fuck it works, but we cannot comment so much on that regardless in any circumstances. I think that my mom is not prepared. You cannot say that, and we've seen the answers for that. You can say a certain thing, but you cannot say my mom. I don't try because my mom is shit. You cannot say that, because again, we can say the reasons again. Why can you not say that? Because even if someone is shit, why would they not be deserving of, anyway, a chance? Let's call it like that. So even if they're shit, I don't see why they cannot try. There are whys, of course. There are answers to that, but those are the real answers. Those are the real answers to someone that says, "Why don't you try with your mom?" Not what you give. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like we can sit here and say that your mom. It doesn't make sense to try with your mom. That is reasonable to say, but not for the reasons you bring. That's all I'm saying. So whatever you bring is something that has solutions or has answers at least, and they are not the ones you give. And that's why I'm saying it's simple, because that exists. So complex things, for me at least, are the ones where you bring a question to someone, a doubt to someone, and they don't have an answer, or they don't know really how to help, or they don't have much to provide to reflect upon. What? cannot hear you.
Yeah, I was just taking some paper in the bathroom. But yeah, I was listening to you. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you say. I think I understand everything that you say,
I don't
to
know.
be honest.
The surely we're not talking about anything new, and time is passing, time is going, and I don't know what you plan on doing. I don't think you plan much. That's probably the problem. But I won't keep saying the same stuff over and over. Now I say them when the conversation arises. I make way less bitter comments that could generate any conversation or debate or stuff like that. As you can see, like I don't even make any comments at all, which is literally it just deletes all the conversations we might have had, or not conversations, but debates we might have had, and all the heaviness that would have come from them. I don't think it's necessarily better at all. It's just a reaction to an inevitable catastrophe. So all I'm doing is, it's not, again, I'm not deleting the catastrophe, and I'm not avoiding it, I'm just delaying it. But the catastrophe is going to arrive. It's already happening. Whether you want to see it as your relationships just going, time going by, and the catastrophe, finally the catastrophe will be felt more by you people, because again, clearly we have a different way of perceiving catastrophes. Because for me, it's already a tragedy right now, and it can already be seen. Maybe for you too, but clearly in different levels. And I think for you people, you actually need the la spada di Damocle, how do you say? You need the sword from heavens to come and somehow take away from you. So I don't know if it's the death of your mom that is gonna arrive and shake you up, or finally give you the last hit. I don't know if it's some kind of similar event where you maybe leave, you finally take maybe a kind of a big in speech marks, okay, big decision of leaving or going away. That is gonna start some kind of feeling or even reaction from them. Maybe you leave and you maybe feel fine, but then they start acting crazy because I've taken you from them, that kind of stuff. And they realize it even more because, again, you left the house and you don't speak to them much anymore. You kind of disappeared. So we don't know what it is that's gonna happen. There is gonna eventually either push all the decisions in that moment, or just make you feel even more heavy, and you still won't take decisions even in that situation. They won't still take decisions even in that situation because it's probably common. But the point is that it's just going in a very bad direction, and we've lost everything we could lose, pretty much. Well, not everything, but a lot of the things that are important to us, we've lost them, and we still survived. I don't know if you or them can survive when you actually lose the things you have. Because the point is that with you, and I'm, like I say again, you people, of course I mean it in a negative way as well, but I mean it in a way to point out that there is a big gap between our experiences. And it's very important to keep that in mind, because otherwise, because it's important to understand that we cannot understand easily each other. And one of the things is that you guys already have very little for between yourselves. Like, your relationships are even more, because that's the point. Like, me and you, we seem more on a very delicate or very catastrophic situation, when in reality you guys are in a more of a tragedy, in a more catastrophic situation. Like, your bond is more fragile than ours, because at least between me and you, we have at least one person that is a rock. But between you guys, none of you two are rocks. you both are just at the mercy of the wind, and it's like, you know, who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow, and the certainties that you have are just illusions, because maybe you feel some certainty towards your parents because they're your parents, right? They've always been there. No matter what happens, they're there. Which is somehow is true, right? Because they're there, they've been there, they probably will be there until they die. But then when you start being like, oh, but what does it mean being there? And the answer is them physically there, nothing more, nothing less. That's the only certainty you have. Because if you want to say that you have your mom there that can support you, you cannot even, or you already cannot say that. You cannot say, oh, I'm always going to have my mom there supporting me. No, we've seen that. Same with your dad, same with your sister. I'm always going to have someone that's going to listen to me. That's not true. We've already seen that. I'm always going to have someone that will want to know of me. That's not true. We've already seen that. So if we do this game of checking everything that they can be, the only thing that they've been and that they can be, that they are physically there. They are physically there, and you can physically go to them. Okay, great. Now, some people like that, some people like it less, or whatever you want to like it or not. But it's not about liking or not. It's just the truth is that you only have that. I don't care. But the point is that you only have that. Like, you know.
That's one of this, like that. That's one of the things that, like, when I tell you that they are very depressing to me, like, and they make me very sad. It's also like whatever they do is shit, or it's also because I always have constant that kind of thing. Like, they cannot do much. Like, it's like they don't do much. They don't really do any good, you know. So it's not.
I mean,
like at the end.
Now I'm using. I'm
there. They don't do more than that. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, now we're talking about like very extreme things, because again, a relationship is not just someone that is very constant like a rock. It's not just that. Of course, that's one of the most appreciable things, and it's what makes some relationships worth calling them relationships. It's one of those qualities that are kind of needed if you want to have something that is of, let's use the word quality, I don't know, something of value, that is quite valuable. But of course, again, you have relationships where, okay, maybe my mom cannot listen to everything I say, but some things she can listen. Maybe she tries sometimes, and there is some appreciation in that. There is some things that can be appreciated or given some value. Of course, that should be taken very carefully, not like your sister, where she's like, oh, again, this is just an assumption because we don't really know, because again, we miss a lot of information, blah, 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 blah. But it's very probable that to think, well, it's very realistic to think that your sister appreciates your mom for what she maybe tries sometimes. Sometimes they have a good conversation, they can converse about certain things. She appreciates that on its own. And I think that's a silly thing to do, because you shouldn't just appreciate one thing on its own, but appreciate it in the entire context. And the fact that already, for example, they are daughter and mother, devalues that drastically. And that cannot be ignored. And your sister probably ignores it, or maybe doesn't even think about it. Or maybe if she thinks about it, she puts them in two different categories. I don't see how that can be. Because if you take away the fact that she's your mom would probably not be listening to you. Or would not be trying. Now, again, you can like that, or you cannot like it. That's just one of the things, okay? That's one of the most obvious things to keep in mind while trying to appreciate an aspect, because we can also appreciate another aspect. For example, but you appreciate the fact that your mom listens to you. Great. But did you ever think of the fact that if your mom was not capable of having the physical energy, which probably she won't be at some point, right? At some point she won't have the physical energy to listen to you, to debate on you, even on the dress. She probably won't even care about that one day. Who knows? Maybe she'll get there. It's very probable. Maybe not the dress, but other things. What are you going to do then? Are you going to appreciate her less because of that? And your sister probably doesn't think about that, or she doesn't take into account that. She doesn't think, but my mom is my mom also because of the energy that who knows what gave her. And that is true also for us, right? And of course it's true for us. But what do we do towards that? We think about it. We take into conversation. We take into everything we do. Everything I do is like, you shouldn't, like when you say I'm an angel, I'm like, oh, but you shouldn't be like that, because in reality, it's also the energy that was given to me, the body that was given to me, the hands that were given to me. And what do? We don't just take into account, but sometimes, we joke, but we don't just joke. But I say, I want to show you when they're going to cut my limbs away, how I will still come to you. And that's, again, one of the ways in which, one of the signals of us, well, me, thinking about this as well, when I try to appreciate something. And that's, something that probably your sister doesn't do, or doesn't take into account, which, it's not just a preference. It's not like, oh, but you do that, your sister doesn't, it's fine. No, it's not like that, because it's part of the reality. And if you don't want to look at it, that's fine. But you're not going to have something that resembles at least reality. Because there are so many things that we don't even fucking realize and that we don't understand. Imagine if you also preclude yourself from the things that just exist and are just obvious, and it takes 2 seconds to see. Like the fact that she's your mom, and you ignore that. Like, it's one of the most obvious things. It's in nature, it's around you, it's in your fucking eyes. You just need to say one thing. Take away the fact that she's your daughter, she wouldn't be talking to you. Obvious. So it's like, it's not a debate, it's not a preference, it's just there. Now you can choose to look at it and keep it in mind and give it the space maybe it needs, which is very hard anyway. But if you don't even fucking try, if you ignore it, or you think about it once and then you go back and go on Instagram and think about the socks for the feet, then of course it makes everything a little bit more hard. And of course, when you come to me and you tell me, oh no, but the relationship with my mom, and you say it to a Johan, you say those things to a Johan that doesn't do like you, that tries not to be like you, that gets distracted and tries to appreciate things the way they are. Of course, that person is gonna, okay, I'm not gonna laugh in her face, but clearly we're gonna be in different positions, and I'm not gonna be able to agree with her. But anyway, this is going back to the tragedy things again. At some point, even the little you guys have with each other is gonna put into question, is gonna be taken away from you at some point. Maybe you'll be lucky, maybe in 20 years that your mom will breathe her last breath, and then at least you had 20 years more of physical consistency and maybe that, and for you all, it's reason to rejoice. There's many people that just rejoice from that, and it's totally fine for you guys, it seems, and I'm not gonna take that away from you. But I think you already know what I think, which is, for me, we already are.
For me, like, for me, it's not like that. It's not like, well, if it's in 20 years, it's like it's good or anything like that.
But you play with that. You play with that because you allow yourself all the time with this world, and that's one of the worst things that you've been doing in the past 2 years and a half, let's say, in my opinion. It's the idea of not clearly.
But why should I?
Like for me, it's not clear that you are, let's call it engaged, but I would have used a more wild term, like it's not clear to me that you are berserk. It's not clear to me that you are in berserk mode. To me, you are in a very chill mode, in a very, but again, it's, as I say, it's not clear. I don't know if you are. I don't know if you are in chill mode. Probably not. Probably it's more to do with some limitations that who knows where it comes from the heavens. But from what I understand for sure, you don't seem thirsty. I don't say you should be thirsty. I hate that. I hate berserk mode. I hate thirsty. I hate those things. But certainly something close to that is more unspeakable, is more positive than someone that just not thinks, but behaves in a way that as if they have all the time of this world. That to me is a little bit better, but again, I would always hope for the middle ground where you're not obsessed with, oh no, we're gonna die tomorrow, and you're not always, oh, it's fine, who cares about anything. So the middle ground is maybe a good place to start, at least. And to me, that's the sensation you give me. That's the impression you give me. It's someone that either doesn't take it too much into account, let's say, or apparently I know you say sometimes that you just get overwhelmed by it. It's like you think so much about it that you get defeated by it, which is fine again. The result doesn't really change. For whatever reason, you are not facing that aspect in a proactive way, in an active way. So whether it's because you get defeated, whether it's because you don't think about it, whether it's because you're scared of it, whatever the reason it is, you're not facing it in a way that allows you to face it, to allows you to fight it back. What does it mean, fight it back?
You cannot fight it back. Like if you face it, is also a bit as if you accept it, as if you are
What do you mean?
like is if you fight it, I know, like you have to be very, very strong so that it doesn't, so that you can at the same time kind of ignore that.
But I don't think so at all. Again, I think there are many degrees. That's what I tried. Well, what I used to say to you at the beginning, this relationship, and then throughout a little bit, that what matters is trying. Again, I don't think it's very rare to find people like me. I don't expect people to be resilient or to play with death or to play with very heavy dynamics. I don't expect that because I see the struggle. I see it in me. I see it in others. So I don't expect that. But at the same time, there's many different ways to show to yourself first, not to others, but to show to yourself that you are trying what you can in a given context. So my question to you, I've already asked you a few times, in the given context that you're in, do you feel like you are trying enough to fight, to face, even just, let's take into account again just this aspect of how time ticks. Do you feel like you're doing enough towards that?
But why would you fight something that clearly is you're so far from?
I mean,
Even
what kind of question is this? So why are we together, Sofia? That's literally it. Why are we even together if you think
no, it's
this
not the
way?
same because there are other reasons that make more sense than what you're saying. Is like fighting time, like the specific part of
That's part
fighting
of our. What's one of the biggest things of our relationship, like fighting time. We are not together just because, we found each other in a beautiful way, or because we trying to do beautiful things. One of the main things that we try to do is not lose time, and not lose time, not just in the present but in the future as well. Well, one of the things that I based this relationship on, and that we agreed on. And clearly we failed on that. We were failing at that, and that's why we are in this situation. So that's why I repeat once again, what kind of reflection is this? Because if you think this way, then everything crumbles. Everything. Like everything that we've tried to do or we've set up to do doesn't make any sense. We are what you're saying, oh, but what does it make? Why would you do that? The answers are the same as the ones that we decided on, which are clearly there are things that are bigger than us. Clearly, there are things.
No, but I don't think it's like that. Like it's not the same answer for both things. I understand that it's related, but it's not the same. Because I don't know. You can also think. You can also even think that it's the time doesn't really exist, or you can um, focus on, well, I don't know what time is, how long, or what even years mean, but we are together and we try to be as much as we can, but it's not the same situation as putting it up like, well, we have a deadline that is clear, and then because of that we have to, then we face that, and we face that every second. Because I mean, to me, if you want to be consistent with that, like, you have to basically do that every second, right? Like
I don't know what you're talking about, to be
some
honest. But both things seem silly, not extreme, but pretty close to that. The idea is that if you want to be intellectually honest, you are aware, we are aware, that we have a very likely, we have a very likely um, expiry date. So whether it's tomorrow or in 60 or something years, it seems that we have that. And you cannot deny, you cannot come to me, oh, I don't know what it means, a year, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. These things are very interesting and they exist, and it's part of this conversation, but they are not the end of this conversation at all. They are part of it and they are not the final answer. So we are aware that time is very, very slippery. We don't realize it very well. We don't have a very clear idea, perception of it. But fuck me if we have enough to think and to keep very closely at mind the fact that we have an expiry date. Regardless of how fast the year goes by, of how our body seems to age but not age, but it ages. It's very probable that it ages, and you have to unfortunately keep that in mind with the evidence that you have at hand in this context. In this context, we seem to be aware that our body is decaying, and it decays in a certain way that in 60 years we're probably dead. And you cannot deny that, even if you don't know what 60 years means. Even if you don't know, it seems that that's how it is. And that's the other aspect of the same conversation is, okay, so we know this, but at the same time we know that we don't understand a lot. At the same time we know that even the perception we have of it is fugitive. It's like it's slippery. So it seems to me a very fertile ground for discovery. It seems that there's a lot that we can maybe uncover that maybe is not even the worst, or maybe it's probably even worse, but how worse can it be than this, you know? So the point is that we can get to some answers apparently, because there's quite a bit to discover, and you just do the two things at the same time. You try to discover whatever you can discover to avoid that expiry date that seems so real, and at the same time you keep in mind that you have an expiry date. But in any way you want to take this, there is no reasonability for, oh, let's just let it go, let's just who cares, another day, or okay, tomorrow maybe. Regardless of if you see it like that, if you live it like that, you're out of someone that is reflecting, that is doing something that makes as much sense as possible. You're just someone that is trying that makes some sense, but that is stopped. It's in stagnation. Someone that has accepted certain things, has accepted certain truths, or that doesn't care about certain truths, and that is far from what we're describing in the first instance, of someone that reflects, that's someone that tries to discover. It's the opposite of someone that is letting go.
But also, if you try to do as much as possible, or because you think you have little time left, it's also that you accept it. It's like you're playing those rules. Like,
You accept it to a certain degree, of course. As I said, if you want to be, you don't. I mean, again, you have the option to be, to live in a fantasy world. You can do that. There's people that are very utopistic. They idolize everything. They're like, oh, they want to dream. You can be that if you want. What I'm saying, to me, makes more sense, is to be a bit of both. To put it very simply, I have to keep in mind the evidence that seems to be at hand, and at the same time, I have to be idealistic. I have to be dreamy. I have to be. I have to go against, even if it seems impossible. So I have to behave like a kid. I have to be rebel. I have to be edgy. Yeah, I have to be that. But at the same time, I cannot just be edgy. I cannot just be, oh, time doesn't exist. At the same time, this is my, again, I'm saying I have to be, but this is for me. It's like what I see. So at the same time, I cannot just be that. I have to also be realistic somehow, because that exists. So those things exist, and they seem to have some kind of, it's like, again, it's like saying the sky is blue. I'm not gonna just say that the sky is blue, but at the same time, I'm not gonna take that into consideration. Yeah, the sky seems blue, my friends, but who knows? Same thing. Oh, it seems that we're gonna die in 60 years, but who knows? But it seems that we're gonna die in 60 years. That sentence exists for me. For some people, that doesn't exist, and for you as well. Apparently, he's trying to imply these things. Again, you want to leave it like that. You can leave it like that. Surely you can. I'm not saying that's exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in my opinion, if you leave it like that, at a certain point, a sword from the heavens will arrive. That's I think what I think is the most likely thing, because you're gonna live. If you carry on living like, oh, who knows if we're gonna die. At some point, your mom will die. You're gonna die, and you're gonna be like, oh wait, we're dead. Okay. So, and that's just one of the examples, but there's other examples as well, that I think that they need to be so down the line or so drastic. I think even just the attitude, because I think someone that thinks in such dreamy ways is very vulnerable to missing chances, to losing time, to losing things. So someone that is like, oh, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, is someone that is not planning so much. And if you don't plan so much, you're missing out on who knows how many things. Because many things need at least some planning, at least a little bit. And this comes from someone that probably has done crazier things than any of the people you've known. So again, I'm trying to say that both things, for me, I think make most sense to exist at the same time in some shape or form, some degree, because of these reasons. Because if you don't, it seems to me very likely that these things will happen, and they don't seem to be very nice outcomes for whoever follows these ways of life. From my way of life, for example, what are the negatives of my way of life, of keeping a bit of both worlds? Like, what am I missing out? What am I being vulnerable for? That's my question to you and to whoever, and to myself, of course. Like, where am I vulnerable in trying to be realistic but dreamy at the same time? One of the things that I might be vulnerable is that I have to be very careful in balancing the two things out, because maybe one thing might carry me away. But again, that is not to do with the way with the outcomes of my way of life. It's just to do with keeping that up. It's a different criticism. It's not. So my question is, my way of life. What is the problem? What's a possible outcome that is not good, and that is criticizable because of my way of living life like this?
I can't come up.
Yeah, so
something.
think about it, ask other people perhaps. What's the negative about this? Research online, I don't know. So do something like that, because maybe there is an answer. And maybe we can we can find other ways then. But again, tonight and many other nights have gone like this, with this conversation where, okay, we are not on the internet searching for everyone's opinion, but between me and you, we can see very clearly, I think, that, for example, the lifestyle of a Gianmarco that lets time go by doesn't seem so safe or so appealing, so intelligent, so progressive, let's say. Doesn't seem that. Between me and you,
What do you mean?
the life of someone that, like, again, as an example, because
Yeah,
you brought that idea of but time, we don't know time. So the life of someone that lives in extreme doubt
yeah,
seems to be very vulnerable. This is what we found out tonight. Maybe if you go online, if we went online and we searched these things and discussed while being online, we could have come up with a different answer. I don't know. But tonight's answer, just like many other nights, is this. And now, what you do with it is not much. That's the problem. Every time we discuss and we get certain conclusions, you go away and you just stay. You just stay on the same. You just stay on the same questions, the same problems. You don't take these conclusions as gospel, which is probably good, but still, it would be more unspeakable than someone that is just in stagnation. I would prefer someone that changes their lifestyle. Like, again, I'm not Christian. A Christian comes, shows me the truth. Shows me their truth. I become Christian. I prefer that to someone that is like, a Christian comes, shits on this person, basically, shows them that they're silly, and that person keeps being silly. Like, I would rather them become Christian. I'll be honest. So that's my opinion. Of course, I don't prefer that. I prefer that that person gets shit on by a Christian, and because of that, they reflect on it and they move on as a person without the need of being Christian, but accepting whatever they seem to think that is acceptable, that they find after researching, after understanding, after living certain things that it makes sense, and moving on. But yeah, if I had to choose between stagnation and dogma, for sure I would choose dogma. But again, you seem to be blocked in this stagnation thing, and that's the main problem. It's like we get to some answer and you don't do much with them. You don't research on them. You don't come back with new challenges. You don't accept them. You don't use them in your daily life. You don't do much with it. Anyway, I went through a lot of tangents. There's who knows many things we missed on saying by focusing on certain aspects, blah blah blah. But regardless of what the things we missed, seems clear that your conversation with your sister meant little and provided little answers, clarity, understanding of one another, of the things you discussed about, of anything. But again, this is judging from what you told me, which is not very reliable. Who knows how many things you missed out, who knows how many, even just major things, not even details, but like major things. So who knows. But it wouldn't surprise me that even if I got the full version of the thing, it still wouldn't be a great conversation that has occurred. And I would be very careful, of course, with those conversations. Less careful than our conversations. Because despite me telling you that you have to be very careful with our conversations, I think it's kind of a safe place. Because clearly I couldn't give a fuck less if you followed my ways, or if you abided to my ways, or I don't need you to be part of my sector. I don't have a sector. All I need is my warrior of light. I'm happy. At the same time, of course, I would like to be with you in a good way, but as I can easily show, I don't need you. I don't need you. I decide to need you is something very different. And that makes this discussion place very safe, because there's no personal interest in it. There's no personal gain. Oh, I need Sofia, so we have to discuss because I need her to be in my same boat. I need her in my life. She's my little sister and I love her, and I want to understand because I depend on this love. There's none of that shit. Thank God. While with those people, unfortunately,
you don't depend on me.
No, I don't depend on you. I decide to depend on you, which is very different. Again, if you disappeared from my life, I could carry on breathing, sustain myself, and do whatever the fuck I want. That's what I'm trying to say. While someone like your sister, if you took you away from her life, there's a good chance that she becomes depressed or kills herself. Who knows? I don't want to say a good chance, but there's a chance. We don't know. And the point is, she doesn't know. That's the thing. She doesn't know either. So the point, because of that, because of instability, or because of some not enough stability or not enough clarity, there's a lot of room for not a safe space, not a safe conversation. But it's not safe. I mean, again, that someone, even of course indirectly, I don't think your sister actively thinks, I need to convince Sofia for these things because I need her to be in my same boat because I need her. I don't think that's something that people think, but most people behave that way. So and I think your sister does as well, and because of that, clearly whatever comes out of her mouth has to be taken even more carefully. So, and even anything that comes out of your conversations with her and with people, with anyone like that, whether it's your sister or anyone in the street or whatever, unfortunately we have to be careful because we don't know. Normally with people, we don't know how aware they are, how honest they are. Your sister is the same thing. We know how not aware she is, how not honest she can be, and all these things. Therefore, because of that, we have to be careful. So again, be careful with what you feel and how you feel with whatever came out of this conversation with her. Regardless of being careful with this, once again, please start reflecting on these things, start taking decisions on these things, start taking positions on these things, and not acting out of fear, acting out of weaknesses, acting out of, oh, I heard this, or I felt this, so maybe not. Act on, okay, I have this situation, I decide to sacrifice this for these reasons. Okay, I have this situation, I have enough evidence to say that I don't have time for you, I don't have effort for you, and all these things. Not certainly like, oh, I heard, oh, I feel like, oh, I fear, or I don't feel good, or they depress me. Okay.
I understand that.
I don't know how much you understand that because we said that many times. Sometimes also you act out of oh, I don't want to hurt anyone, right? Because you still work like that, it's obvious. I don't want to annoy anyone and blah blah blah. Of course it's obvious that you're hurting us, so your idea of I don't want to hurt anyone is already out of the window as it is. But to make it more out of the window, because apparently it's not enough, it's just a very wrong concept, this idea of I don't want to hurt anyone. You're hurting people just by breathing. I am hurting people just by breathing. We breathe, like in a way you can see it as I'm breathing your air. That is me taking away from you. Like that's already, if you want to see like in that's very drastic way. But the truth is that you don't even have to be so philosophical or so, because it's a little bit ambiguous, right? let's take it with very, very things are very, very much not ambiguous, and you can see that when you go and just buy stuff, where you're a part of the society that takes and takes and takes from other people that you don't even see. So okay, maybe you're not hurting your family, which you are, but maybe as so you get to a position where you're not hurting your family, and fuck you and your family, Sophia. Fuck you from the deepest part of my heart. You and anyone that cares about their family, and being like, okay, I'm fine because I don't hurt the people right next to me. Like, fuck everyone that feels that way and that is capable of feeling that way, of feeling accomplished by, oh, I don't hurt at least the people that are around me or that I care about, which is already something very utopistic, right? Because go and find, I dare you to go and find someone that doesn't hurt the people that are around them, right? The closest people around them. Good luck finding that. So already when you don't find someone that is so virtuous, and you can already shit on them and be like, fuck you. There's nothing virtuous about you. And, well, not nothing, but there's not so much virtuous about you. So imagine with someone like you and many other people that thinks that they cannot hurt others. They still live in this idea or this bubble that, oh, I shouldn't hurt others, and I should be less of a nuisance of others. Such
Yeah,
a thing that
not.
doesn't
I mean,
exist. Like,
I think other people, they feel good or they feel they accomplished things if they're like that, but it's not like, I don't feel like that. It's
no,
not like,
I know that for you it's more like a limit. It's more like stronger than you. It's not like you something you want to do. It's not that you see it. Oh, I don't want to do this. It's more like you don't. It's as if you don't have control over. Oh, I don't want to hurt others. And I think at the beginning you were not like that. At the beginning you actually thought that. I remember, and even now sometimes it comes out that you sound like someone that doesn't want to do that, not just someone that cannot do that. It's very hard. I can believe that you don't, it's not like you don't want to do that, but you cannot help it. I want to believe that, but it's not very easy to say, oh no, Sophia, I just cannot help it, because many times you sound like that. I mean, how many times you've said, oh, but I'm gonna hurt them if I do this. That's someone that is thinking, reflecting, and has the tool to potentially choose. So who am I to say, oh no, she's not choosing? How can I know? So and there's many of those examples, and I'm not gonna be like, oh no, Sophia, clearly she cannot. Who knows? I'm okay with believing that you cannot help it, but regardless of whether it's, oh, she cannot help it or she doesn't want to help it, this is one of the many truths that can help towards letting go of this feeling that is either dominating you or that you are either embracing, I don't know, but whatever is the dynamic behind, this is one of the many thoughts that can help. I think it's like, if you ever feel in doubt of, oh, but maybe this feeling that dominates me, that I don't want to hurt others, then maybe it makes sense because I cannot control it, but at the same time it's not so bad. No, it's bad. there's no doubt about it. It's like you just need to wake up in the morning, and not even go downstairs. Just wake up. So of course it takes a little bit of reflecting, but at least it doesn't take experience. So there are some things that you cannot really know unless you go through them somehow or you observe them. At least it's one thing, you don't even need to go that way. It's like, it's something that you can actually get there even just by sitting down. But anyway, you don't even need to do that because you live the life, thank God. And you don't even need to be in your room and think about these things. You just need to fucking remember or observe anything. But anyway, regardless of this, you go ahead, do whatever you want. As I said, you keep taking your decisions. You keep being shit in my eyes, and I'm not gonna be necessarily any less towards you. As I said, I'm already very, very, very little. I'm not gonna disappear all of a sudden, or who knows what kind of punishment you're gonna receive from being constantly shit or whatever. So at least don't feel pressured by, which again, even the pressure apparently didn't do much because you still are shit. So, but just in case you still have some pressure from, maybe he's gonna blackmail me because apparently you've compared me towards to so those kind of things sometimes, right? So if you feel in those kind of ways, which already I don't know where they come from, but I can imagine, you have even less of a reason to feel that way. I'm still gonna be playing my game. You're gonna find me here that I'm not gonna respond to everything you say, but to some stuff, most stuff, I'm open. You still get most of my, opinions, feelings, some initiatives from me, some planning towards something together. You still get most of the important stuff, just a little bit diluted, a little bit weaker. That's all. And the only thing, let's just face it, like the things that I'm different on is basically how I spend my free time. Maybe now in my free time, instead of being wasting it, I will be maybe do something for us, or I don't know, draw something that is not even so important. So, but maybe I would express more my love. That's the only difference that really has changed, which is a lot, I think, for me, probably for you too. But at the same time, it's true that there is some stability. You don't have to fear who knows what's gonna happen if you keep being this shit. I think it's more for you, for your mental stability. It's always been like that, right? It's always been more for you. But I think now it's even more clear, just in case you still had some weird doubts. It's even more clear that it's more for you and for your family. Because surely I'm not gonna be the one breaking down in all this. Well, at least not the same as you guys. Surely I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're gonna, let's separate these things. I'm not saying that you guys are gonna be more in pain, because I laugh at the pain you guys feel, I think, even if it's hard to know. But just in case you're thinking that you were blending the two things together, I don't think that the pain I feel is probably not comparable to the pain that you guys feel. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not gonna break down. I'm not trying to say that I'm not gonna feel pain, I'm not gonna feel bad, but I'm not gonna trade everything that is most important to me for fucking feelings like you guys. That's maybe the only difference. But it doesn't mean that I don't feel as bad as you, or less than you, or more than you. The only thing that is different is that at least I'm not gonna throw everything in the fucking bin just because I feel bad. That's the only difference. That's what I mean. I'm not gonna at least break down like you guys. But probably emotionally, I'm not gonna break. I'm broken down, and I'm gonna break down surely, but certainly not from a decisional point of view. But I mean, at least I hope. I cannot assure it 100%, but that's what I try.
But why? So that I don't act out of pressure?
No. I mean, that's just me in general. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like this has always been true, but I feel like you've been clouded, because lately, for the longest time, you've either mentioned directly or indirectly that there's huge pressure from my part. You having to be good, having to do this. Oh, I have to be. I have to improve, and all these things for me, So I'm not saying that I've ever been like this. I'm just saying that you brought these ideas, and I'm giving them even less space than I've always given them. Because even in the past, I don't think I've ever given you enough reason, at least, to feel pressured by me. But apparently, at some point, you started feeling pressured, and now I'm giving you even less pressure. Well, even less reason to feel pressured. But I think it's always been there, just as clear. Now it's even more clear by trading some things that I would have never wanted to trade, but by trading some attention, some connection, and blah blah blah. But at least I don't think anyone can say, you or anyone that picks up our messages or whatever, can kind of say, okay, he's clearly blackmailing her, or punishing her, like you say, or pressuring her and saying that you have to change now. Pretty chill. I'm here. Pretty much the same as always, just less intense. Despite me telling you, me being very aware that I do not like what you do, that I think they're one of the worst things possible in this context. And I'm not saying that it's your fault, but I'm saying that this is one of the worst context we could ever live, and most of it is on your shoulders, and you carry on being this way. So I'm very aware. I'm not saying, so again, my position is not someone that is like chill because you should be. I shouldn't be chill, but I'm chill because, of course, I understand what the context is, and I prefer to be this way than just being angry all the time and like in pain and fuck you, I'm not gonna respond to you ever because I'm in pain and because you're shit. I can be that, and I think I can be that. But seeing how it doesn't help us in any way, apparently, I'm gonna choose something that at least doesn't make you necessarily go crazy. But I don't think that this is necessarily the best course of action. I'm choosing this state of mind just because of your weakness. That's all. Not because it's good, or again, just because I've seen that you felt pressured and I'm trying to take it away. But it's not a good thing to do, I think. I'm just doing it because I think maybe it's the least, the one course of action that creates the least problems, but not because it shouldn't be. And anyway, we'll see if it's like this, because as I said, it's true that I want to be chill, but at the same time I want to be coherent, and I'm gonna be here and all that, but probably I'm gonna be start doing things that you're not gonna like, that are gonna make you go crazy. So I take that into account very much. It's like I'm not gonna just think, I'm gonna basically be shut in until she's gonna grow up. No, I'm gonna be available for you and all that, but it's not like I'm gonna be shut in. It's not like I'm gonna be just like I am right now. Because I think it's the same already, but for you, it's gonna be more negative because maybe I go out and I see other people, and that for me it's very shit. It's very crazy, because in reality I already do that. Okay, I don't speak to other people, but I engage with other things that you know nothing about. Whether it's even just my thoughts or my time, I spend my time all the time on my own, and it's true. And you see that maybe as less annoying than if I spend time with someone else. That doesn't change anything. I'm on my own, or someone else doesn't change anything. I'm doing things that you don't know about, that I'm living on my own. That's the point. So, but at some point, I think this behavior is gonna make you feel even worse, just because we are gonna add those elements that are apparently so different.
What you mean? What element?
People going out, who knows, those kind of things.
But why would you do that?
Because, as I said, I'm living in a way that I'm not paying so much attention to what I do in my free time. I'm not putting so much effort into doing what I want to do the most, blah blah blah. So I play. Maybe one day I do something that I wouldn't do. Those kind of things. That's what I'm already doing.
You say that you don't want me to get crazy, and that's one of the reasons why you're like this. Then, well, you said it like...
No, I said one of the things that I do to not make you crazy is not caring so much about what you do or your decisions and stuff like that. And that is shown by how I am here. We talk, and I am calm in conversating on things that I should be a devil on, that I should be crazy, I should even talk about. There should be many other things. So that's my answer. But at the same time, as a way to still make sense, I just like I give little importance to what you do in your time and whatever, I do the same towards me. I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck about my time either, because I want to give a fuck about my time towards a possible cooperation with you, a possible relationship, just like we decided initially, where it's very deep, intense, where we do things that makes a lot of sense. So if I don't care about things that you do that don't make sense, I'm not gonna care about things that I do that don't make sense, or not so much. Again, I don't want to turn into you at all, and that's why, even if I do things in my spare time, I'm not doing the craziest things that make no fucking sense or whatever. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be the best I want to be. That's all. So it's just the idea of doing things that don't make so much sense. It's not to not make you go crazy, but it's to keep some kind of sense in this situation that is towards nonsense. That is all. But the stuff that I do to not make you go crazy are basically the fact that I'm available for you, even if we're doing things that don't make sense. Maybe available for you sounds a little bit too little. What I mean is that you're still the main things for me. I try to be with you, but just not as intensely as I could, or that I would, or as we maybe could. But I don't know.
I know that, I mean, it's a bit, in a way, it's a bit, I don't know, scary, like how you sound like this, like you sound, because I know how you must be inside. Like, I don't want you to think that because you're talking to me like this, like so calmly and like in this sweet way, or I know how you must be inside, and I'm, I'm, I'm worried, or I don't know, I'm worried about how you, like you're also someone that um, we are just focusing too much on me, and I understand that. I understand why, of course, because I'm weaker and all that. But I feel also like very wrong.
I mean, it's not. It's we're not. I'm not here putting a mask on. This is me. It's not like, oh, I'm being like this. Yes, Sofia, I'm very calm. In reality, I just want to punch your face. No, it's not that. It's not like. I mean, I want to point out first one thing before I forget, that clearly it can be seen as blackmailing. The fact that I'm saying, okay, I'm here, but at the same time, because you're shit, I'm also a little bit shit. If that's seen as blackmailing, that's fine by me. You want to see that as blackmailing, it's totally fine. If anyone else wants to see that as blackmailing, for me it's not, and it's very dishonest in trying to choose that as being blackmailing, because it makes sense that you want to see it as a blackmailing, but to me it makes sense also as seeing as someone that is just trying to fucking make sense, to be coherent. And I think it's very easy to see that it's a demonstration of coherence. It's a reflection of coherence. The fact that you are shit in your spare time. Okay, I'm gonna give importance to that, and I'm not gonna be basically, Sofia, no matter what you do, I'm always gonna be here. No, I'm stretching that a lot. Already, I wouldn't be the way I am because of all the things you've done. But I'm trying to play around your weaknesses and this idea of giving importance to what you do. So, I'm not going to be necessarily a demon or very far from you. Very far from, of course, from a practical point of view, because I'm never far from you, no matter what you do. But practically I'm not gonna be so far from you. I'm not gonna be a demon, but at the same time, if I stop giving importance to what you fucking do, then you might as well. We might as well not have a relationship. And other people as well might as well not have a relationship. Like, people are way more blackmailing than me normally, and that's even your family. If you want to classify what I'm doing right now, what I explained right now, as blackmailing, then I don't even want to fucking know how you're gonna classify what others do. So, yeah, it is true. It is true that it's kind of blackmailing because it's an exchange. It's true. It's kind of an exchange. But guess what? Relationships are mainly based on exchange. And people take it very, very disgustingly. And I think I do a pretty good job in trying to be not so disgusting. I could maybe improve. I could do even more. But I don't know. It's very hard. It's very hard because I could say, I could be kind of a martyr and be like, okay, Sofia, no matter what you do, I'm always going to be here. But then how do I demonstrate that what she does has importance to me? What she does matters and has an impact. So giving her the sensation, not just the sensation, but proof that what she does matters, that she is a human being and she can decide that she's not just my daughter, she's not just a puppet, she's not just my puppet. How do I do that? So I think when you think in this way, then it becomes a little bit harder to be like, oh, I can be a martyr. So anyway, that's just to point out, because of course then it's always going to sound as in reality blackmail, and I'm not aware of it. And the other thing you said, oh, it's a facade, basically, as if I'm like I have a mask and I'm just acting. No, it's not that at all. As I said, for me, the acting is also being a demon. It's like, it's just as acting as this. They're all acts, because what I mean by acts is that I'm thinking and I'm deciding how to behave. This is what an actor does. It's like they are reading a script and they have to do, they were following the script that they want to follow. Of course, they are given a script, so that's what makes them actors and not me necessarily. But I do something very similar where I give myself a script and I decide to follow it because I agree with it, because I like it, because I think it makes sense. So in this case, I think for what it's one of the things that can make sense, behaving this way. It's not the one that I would go for the most, but what I would go for the most is just far. It's just not here. And among the choices that I have, this is one of the choices, and this is me. Like what I'm describing right now, it's what I am normally. Like what you liked so much, the best version of me was still a decision made in the context I was in. And this is the same. I'm making some decisions in the context I'm in. It's not so different. So don't fall in this illusion. It's very easy to fall in, where, oh, the real Johan is the one that was in that situation, and now I have a less real Johan. The Johan you had in that situation wasn't any more real. Like it's just, again, a product of different contexts and some decisional power that I had. Just like now, there's a context and I have some decisional power to do this, and I'm not forcing myself to do it. It's just a path that I'm deciding to take. Of course, the decision is kind of hard to say, oh, it's a full decision, but it still works in those limits. It still works in those limits. Maybe a little bit more tight, because again, you maybe don't give me as many paths as I had in other contexts, but certainly I am not forcing myself down a specific path or pushed against the wall for a specific path at all. So you have to be scared that I am putting who knows what kind of mask, and then I'm not showing you, because I mean I'm telling you anyway. I'm telling you it's very negative, you're shit. I'm telling you what I think. It's not like, oh Sofia, everything is fine, ha ha ha, at all. So you don't have to add that to your worries, where, oh, I'm very worried.
No, but it's not not for me, but like for you, like how it maybe it also affects you, like
what affects me is that I have to do all these reflections. That's what affects me, where we should be focusing on other things that are more pressing, that are more big, and we are here, me thinking about, okay, I shouldn't I don't want to pressure so much Sofia. We have to solve this. I want to give importance to this. We are talking about things that, to me, have such little relevance. They are very simple,
Mhm.
and they should just brushed off. That's
Oui.
the only thing. That's the only thing I you should be worried about. You should be worried about.
Vale, vale, ok.
So yeah, that's what you should be worried about towards me. The fact that this situation just needs to go, but clearly that's not gonna probably happen. It's not happening, so don't be worried about necessarily other things about me, but how is he feeling? Or no, we all know how I'm feeling. We all know how it is. What we should care about for me is just the situation. I should go. Other than that, whatever. Honestly, whatever.
Other than that, whatever.
Yeah, totally whatever.
What do you mean?
Other than that, I care little about this. I'm taking this decision that's probably he's not gonna like, or this thing is gonna make it a little bit worse. Like literally, I think you could go back to Juan and be like, oh, do you want to go back in a relationship? And I'm not gonna probably change the way I am. It's like that's how far I am with whatever. I'm not, you go to a Christmas party, you go with your friends every night, you go and fuck another boy, you just do whatever, unless it's something to solve the situation and put it where it should be, in a little corner, laughing about it, laughing about in a melancholic way, but laughing about those relationships that had so much ambiguity, those relationships that they didn't know what you thought, they don't understand, you don't understand them, you don't ask them, those relationships that don't go anywhere, those dynamics, those experiences that are just there for the moment and not even that, all these things, like, that's just the most obvious shit of this world. Just leave it where it should be, in a corner that we sometimes look at just to remind ourselves of how silly it was. And I'm not saying that you should. I'm not using this metaphor to say you should put those people in that little corner, but I'm saying those dynamics, which means you can still be with your mom and all that, but it's getting to a point where you are with your mom in a way that is not. That doesn't include all those things. That doesn't include all that ambiguity. That doesn't include all that superficiality. That doesn't include all that pointless facade. All those things. So, and it's like me with my mom. While I was there, of course. While I was there, I had a relationship with her, and it wasn't the best at all. But it wasn't something that someone could come to me and be like, oh, but you fall in this and you fall in this trap and there's ambiguity, all that. It was something very distant. Someone comes to me, oh, but you don't really tell your mom what you think. How do I not? I literally told her that how I fuck my girl and that I masturbate over kids. Like, what else do you want me to? What else do I not say to my mom? Or, oh, you don't care about your mom. Okay, I literally care more. I showed more care to my mom in those weeks than my brothers in years. People that say that they love her, and I've done that just by questioning, listening, fighting things that she couldn't fight for her own sake in a few weeks. And I haven't done much. Well, I've done a bit. Of course, some time has gone into that, and I'm not saying you should do the same. But there is that gray area. Again, I'm not saying you should apply that gray area like I did, but there's many ways. Whether it's saying to your mom "fuck off" instead of saying "okay, mama," whether it's saying to your mom "okay, but can you think 2 seconds, my mom," or whether it's saying "mom, let's do something together," but it's a little bit sad, but let's do something together. There's many ways of approaching this. Of course, it's very hard, especially in your position now. it's hard to be in that gray area, because of how fucked you all are. So the more fucked you are, the more maybe extreme extreme actions are more appropriate. That's kind of true. So even if if you start saying to your mom, "Let's go for a walk," even if it's sad, maybe it's not gonna be so much appropriate, because she probably doesn't understand what you mean, and you probably don't mean it in a way that is consistent enough or strong enough. All these things. So there is all that. There are all those issues. Which, okay. But fuck me, let's get to those issues once you actually fucking try, because that's the thing. Let's get to those issues once something moves, and a solution might be, again, I'm not saying that it's not true, leaving them in an extreme way. Saying, we can have some kind of relationship, people, but don't expect for me to follow you in all the things that I shouldn't follow you. It's like, okay, we can talk, but I'm not gonna be silent when you say some shit. Or we can talk, but I'm not gonna engage. As soon as I hear some shit, I'm out of the conversation. Whenever you propose something so basically anything to do together that is superficial, it's not something that I think is valuable, I'm not gonna take part in it. So that's a very extreme position, right? It's like mine, pretty much, with my mom, that I can basically only respond to her messages, and I shouldn't even do that. It's a very extreme position. I'm not saying that you shouldn't even do that, but clearly you're not prepared for any of this, whether it's mild, whether it's extreme, whether it's whatever, blah blah blah. Anything that is like that, it seems that you either are not prepared, but even more importantly than the fact that you're not prepared, is that you don't take it. You don't fucking take it. You don't fucking take it. You don't take any of these decisions. So it's not even that you're not prepared for any of them, but even if you're not prepared, you don't even start any of them. You don't come to a day and say, okay, because of the situation that I am in, poor your mom, because I'm using her as an example, but this is true for all of your relationships. But let's say you come one day about your mom and say, okay, the situation with my mom is this, this, and this. I decided to do this, this, and this towards this situation. Like this day has not arrived yet. Like, it's insane. So, of course, if we don't start from there, we can be here speculating what's best to do, what's not best to do, what's too extreme, what's not extreme. And we can do that, and we can get to some answers. But they're not so much. They're not so much at all unless something starts moving. Again, don't go away from this conversation and feel like, oh no, now I have to take a decision. Now I have to go and say I want to do this, this, and this. There's no need. You haven't done this for who knows how long. I don't expect at all for you to do this anytime soon, and I don't need it. So this is just one of those many conversations that just here to make you reflect. Heads up, this is it. We can conversate. Good luck. That's all.
I mean, I understand what you say, and I know that it's better. Like I want to be like what you say, like what you describe, and I think I can. I don't know how much it can be, but I think I can be a lot of that, of what you just said, for example.
I mean, good for you. I don't really see it. I see, especially lately, even just a few days, I see a lot of waste. Very, very easy waste. Like, time goes by and you don't do much, or you don't do anything. And if I stop and think, I'm just shocked. I'm like, oh, but is that really how it went? Like, how these days even went? It's like, so to me, I don't really see so much that you have what it takes really. I don't see much of the indication, but again, I don't give a fuck about my perception. At this point, especially, you say that that's the case. I mean, I can only hope for that for you. But
For us too, like for
no, for us again, I stopped. I don't expect or hope for our relationship to improve. For you to come all of a sudden and fix things, or some of it, or all of it. I mean, I never expected it. Of course, I hoped it a lot. I don't even hope it anymore. I'm fine as it is, like this, where we still somehow are together. You still take some care of me. I take some care of you, and we have something at least. Um, it's fine like that. I don't feel too destroyed by all the loss that we've gone through, and that we're going through. I'm aware that we're losing a lot, that we are not what we could be, but at the same time, being more than what we are, as we've seen, has many risks. And if I saw that you all of a sudden improved a lot, I would still be very scared, because being very intense in a relationship is very hard, especially as a human. It's like, I can imagine ourselves, maybe you caring so much about me and me caring so much about you. I'll be very scared of how that would impact our even just our intelligence. The fact that maybe we spend too much time just between ourselves, it's not something that I would necessarily want us to fall in, because we're something that we could fall in, like, just be with ourselves. Of course, it's kind of harder in this day and age, because even if it's just me and you, I am of the opinion that we have so many different stimulus from other sources that it's kind of hard for us to just fall into some very caged situation, just me and you. I don't know. Even if, whether it's picking up a book together, or again a game, or reading something online, watching something and reading what other people think online. I'll be honest with you, a big part of me is not so interested in relationships nowadays, because I can see that if I wanted to get the best, the most interesting aspect out of the people, which is like opinions, debates, and critical thinking, I don't really need relationships, right? I just need to read and Google, and so. And the reality is that the most interesting things that objectively for me, which I don't like saying these things, I don't like thinking them, but I know that a part of me is mostly interested about growth together, and I've seen that that's very unlikely to get from relationships. If I go out and I start knowing people, it's very unlikely that I'm going to get anything interesting. But if I go online and I read, and I spend my time reading instead of socializing, I get like stuff that maybe I would never even get after 10 years of relationship with someone, and it's not even an exaggeration at all. So I'm very aware of this, and it's very scary, and it's very cynical and robotic in ways, but it's very true, and I'm glad it exists because at the same time, while it's scary, at the same time, fuck that life where you spend all of your life surrounded by certain people, or maybe even socializing all the time, and you get out with what? Good times together, yeah, we had fun, yeah, and then you're a fucking bigot that can't think shit, that cannot be even critical, and that is probably doing who knows how many shit things to them, to those people that you have fun with, and let's not even mention all the people that you are not having fun with. So it's like, yeah, from many sides, oof, thank fucking God. but at the same time, I don't want to fall into that idea of everyone is shit and um, I don't need others and social things are not needed, which is very hard to fall into it anyway, because I can feel it as well. That maybe it's very vague for me because I don't know, I've developed in some self-sustained beast, but of course it has an effect on me staying all day in a room. I don't want to even say of course, because I'll be honest, I don't feel it so much. Maybe in some moments, but maybe it's like it's that the idea of me thinking of it that makes me feel it's like, oh, I'm not, I have all my curtains closed and I'm not cycling the oxygen. But in reality, I'm like, when I think about that, maybe I feel influenced by it. But if I don't think about it, and if I get distracted by the many things I can distracted by, I don't feel that. And that's very similar to the need of socializing, because of course that need apparently exists in us, and it has existed in me in the past. But I feel like it's very faded nowadays, which I thank the Lord for it, because it was disgusting. But at the same time, of course, I want to be careful with it. But anyway, these things are very far tangents.
Yeah, what?
Very far conversations. All I was trying to say is that, of course, even in a situation where we would be very tangled and close and stuff, it's not like I wouldn't be careful and we wouldn't be surrounded by possible threats and blah blah blah. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't see our position right now as, oh my god, it's so much worse than other things. It's very negative, and especially in some months ago, where I decided to be towards a solution. It was very shit, but I personally am in a state of mind of, okay, and this is not me accepting what we lost again and accepting that we lose. It's just me giving some context of, okay, we've tried, we've given some space also for the we have to solve this kind of attitude. Now let's see what we have. And what we have is something that is not the best, but not very far off. Like if you start again, if I saw that you didn't even try a little bit, or if I saw that you, like, that one time in Getafe where I noticed that was the start of the end, right? It's like that one time where I noticed that it was kind of this not disputable, that you were almost like kind of avoiding me. Like when those kind of dynamics kick in, then that's when, of course, we lose stuff that it's more vital stuff, and of course we cannot afford to lose that. So
More what? More?
vital stuff for our relationship. So it's like, like we still have a lot, because of course I still trust your feelings towards me a lot. I still think that you like me a lot. Still think that you have a lot of desire. Huh?
I do.
Yeah. I still think you have a lot of desire for this kind of relationship. Now, if I lose also that, I don't want to say that everything changes drastically, but certainly it goes even more down. And I don't know how more chilled I can be, but at the same time, I would feel like, well, I don't know, maybe I would. I'm not saying that I would become a demon. I think that's gone, but I think it would be a little bit more negative. Like I would be maybe questioning, well, why are we, like, if when you're gonna turn into an actual Miriam, that's when an actual person that is uninterested, or that because I can see that you are, well, I can think that maybe you are uninterested, but when I get to that point where I can see that you're uninterested, or it's pretty obvious, then what do we do? It's just obvious. It's like, okay, well, that's it.
I'm not uninterested, and I will never be uninterested.
I don't know. So many things are never gonna happen, and they happen.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that there are degrees. I'm not saying that it would always be like this, but all I'm saying is we still have a lot, and just like we have a lot, we still have a lot to lose. So that's what I wanted to point out.
Yeah.
And this sounds overly positive, and it's not so positive because again,
Yeah, no.
you know, I spent an entire 2 weeks, 100 hours doing things that you maybe know now, because again, it's not so bad. I still try to explain and share with you, but I spent 100 hours doing things that you had no say in. 100 hours in 2 weeks. That's basically more than the time I have out of work. Like if you count, it's basically like after work. It's as if after work I didn't speak to you, and I played until 4 a.m. in the morning, non-stop. Every day after work. That's basically what I've done for the past 2 weeks. But it doesn't look like that because I've done it over the weekend, while you were busy and while I was on my own. But the truth is that whether you want to spread it out or put it in the weekend, we spend in 2 weeks 100 hours away from each other, which is more than the time I have awake, because I would never go to sleep at 4 a.m. in the morning and then we'll go to work the morning after. It's something that I wouldn't even be able to physically do, and I spent that time that I wouldn't be physically awake away from you. So that's how bad it is. And yeah. And that's for a game now. Once it's gonna become a girl, you're gonna lose your head. And you're gonna be like, oh, you've changed, oh, you this, I cannot accept. And I'd be like, oh, but how could you accept Final Fantasy 14 though?
I don't think I'm gonna be like that.
I hope we don't get there. To be honest, I don't even have the interest to get a girl. I don't have any will, and I don't think we're gonna get there mainly because of that. Because it's true that it exists. It also exists the fact that I try to have an interest towards others, but as I said before, a big part of me doesn't want to have a relationship in any way. Even with Licit, I'm struggling a lot, like I always did, but even more now, in trying to do something together, because I'm like, no, I'm busy. Even tonight, she's like, are you on? And you came right after he asked me that, and I didn't even use you as an excuse, but I was thinking, oh, I can say that I'm with you. But if I wasn't gonna say that I was with you, I was gonna say, oh, I need to study, and I would have just spent 6 hours playing. So yeah, so like a big part of me doesn't need a relationship, doesn't want a relationship, doesn't have the interest, and sees them as an actual waste of time, to be honest. Like a big part of me, and I fight with that all the time because I don't want to fall into those things, into those thoughts, or just those thoughts.
I suppose you still have that other part of you that doesn't see it like that.
No, I don't have that. I think I don't have an interest. It's like I decide to have an interest, so I don't think there's any more a part of me that actually has a feeling of interest. Like I never feel, oh, let's go out. I never feel like, oh, let's talk a bit with Lizzie. Oh no, but I mean, apart from you, of course, you're different. I'm talking about others. So other relationships outside of you, I never feel like, oh, I want to go see my brother. Oh, I want to go and meet new people. Or maybe I get some feeling of I wanna be seen by people. Like sometimes I feel like today I came into my head that all of a sudden that Korean girl that came with me to see Pinocchio, and I felt like, oh, that kind of experience of finding someone new that has some interest in me, that might be something cool, right? And that feeling is the most close thing that I can think that is, towards other relationships. Like, oh, that would be cool. And of course, when you think about it, it's pretty disgusting, right? It's like, what is it? It's not even, because I think it's not even about the girl. Who gives a fuck about her? I don't even remember her name. It's more about the idea that she somehow was interested in knowing me, and there was some kind of exchange. So this kind of primitive thing is something that maybe pops in my mind. It's like, oh, I wouldn't mind that. And then I think about it 2 seconds, and I'm like, oh, fuck that. But that's the furthest thing, or the only thing that I can say that starts in me. And to be honest, I cannot even say that it actually starts in me, because it wouldn't surprise me that it's something more linked to the fact that now I'm so much on my own, right? But I'm pretty sure that if I spent, even just time with you, I wouldn't even get that feeling ever. So I don't know, maybe I will still get it in the future. I don't give a fuck anyway. But surely I would get it way less, and I would have not gotten it for sure now or anytime soon if I was with you and all that. So in reality, it's more dictated by the time that I have to think right now, and not just to think about things that are important or make sense, but even silly things that happens all the time. But yeah, so I don't think there's a part of me that, at least from how I feel, how I've been feeling for the longest time, that feels like doing things. Even when I was in Spain, I never felt good going with Gaia, with Emanuele, with Lorenzo. Like it felt like a task, which I'm glad about. Like that's what I wanted to do, but it's very different from feeling like it. It's not like that at all.
But I mean, there was a time in which you did feel like it, but you worked on it, or it just happened because of other things, like because of
No, but in the
well,
time I was dependent
decisions
on it. In the time I desired it a lot. Like when I was a teenager, I was so depressed because I didn't have friends. I didn't have the life that other people had. I was like, oh, I'm in this country on my own, and I don't have people. And then there's people in Naples that go for barbecues and go for holidays together. And then there's me that I go on my own. I felt very missing out, and like I wanted that kind of stuff. I felt very bad. I don't want to use the word depressed, because I think we use it very weirdly. I don't even know what depression really means. I think sadness maybe. So yeah, I felt very sad, extremely sad. But yeah, and of course at the time while I was feeling sad, I was reflecting upon it. Of course, like, oh, what does it mean? Why do I feel like this? Whether it's for self-defense, whether it's because of curiosity, whether it's a mixture of things, I wouldn't be able to certainly say that. Maybe it's because of how I was ever since I was little. We don't have those answers. I don't have them. Because it's true that I had maybe some kind of part of me that has always been, like even before I went to England, I was thinking about what it meant, something, whether it's in a very primitive and young way, but it still existed. So I don't know. I don't know if it's common for everyone. I always thought that it was common for everyone, to be honest. I always thought that everyone thinks a little bit about things, or maybe I'm wrong. That's what I started to think for the past years.
For sure. I mean, for sure, people think way less than you.
I don't know. At this stage, for sure. At this stage, I can understand. At the time, I don't know. I will never have an answer, I think. But I don't even need it. But yeah, I worked on it for sure. Why I worked on it and how I can tell you, but why it started, where it started, I cannot say. But yeah, I worked on it in very different ways, whether unintentionally, but also intentionally at some point, for sure at some point. And well, for as much as intention can be said, because of course intention is something hard to say, but for as much as humanly possible, I think I had a good amount of intention.
But it seems like, don't you think it's like, well, I don't know, because
I don't know why exactly the rest of the people don't do that, but
I don't even know
it
why I
seems
do that, so okay,
it's very insane, like what you.
I mean, now I know why I do it, because of course I see reasons. I see reasons and
Yeah.
thought processes, and I can use those to
Like
say I
even,
have.
like even if you see reasons, it's not the same seeing the reasons or understanding. Well, maybe in a way, yeah, but to actually have the control or the, like you say, the decisional power, and the coherence or the
For sure.
reasonability that you have, like all the qualities that you have them in a very insane way, like in a very
I think
it's just insane.
you need to understand, Sofia, that it's not insane. It's compared to the most people that surround you that it's insane. But you have to keep that in mind. It's not insane. It's very basic, bare minimum. Like you get impressed by the fact that I think of asking why. It's like it's very bare minimum. It's not so insane. Just don't get fooled by that. But anyway, it's not important. Well, to a certain degree. What were you saying?
Mm, I mean, just that. I'm asking you about when you started to be like that and why, but you said you don't know
No, I
why
mean I can say that
exactly.
when I started, I mean, we already talked about this, but when I started with some
Yeah,
conscience, was around 15. Of course, I would sometimes question
yeah, no.
myself before. Like I remember that I'd be like, "Oh, why do I care about this?" Blah blah blah. But for me, it's very primitive state until even I would dare say even very up until recently, like some years ago, was a kind of primitive. But I think that's more because of memories fooling me. Because when I go and read myself and the things I would say and think, they're very similar to now. So I think I had already this kind of degree of awareness. Other things sound similar, but I know that I didn't have the same degree of awareness. Oh, no awareness, but control. That's very important as well. Because I had awareness at some point, but I didn't have the calm. I didn't have the control. So I understood the some dynamics, and I understood also the dynamic of me not having the control, but I didn't have the control. I would still feel very bad, feel very sad, depressed, I don't know, but very sad, rage. For example, when, I don't know, if Miriam would leave me, I would be very like, oh, like, but in an uncontrolled way. Even though I would realize it and stuff, I still felt those things. And yeah, so that's that one time. But then at some point, I also developed that kind of control where I don't want to say I don't have feelings, but I have feelings, and it's more like I decide when to have them most of the time. I think it's more with you. Even with you, I always kept with you the door open. Like I always said, no, only with Sofia, I don't need the control and stuff. But I'm not saying that I don't have it. It's more like I'm okay if I lose my head, but I'm not saying that I'm gonna lose my head. But yeah, that anyway. There's these different stages, but the most important one, I suppose, is the awareness anyway. Because even if I wasn't controlled, well, fuck you all. I wasn't controlled. It's not the end of the world. And I wasn't controlled, but it's not like I would do something crazy or say shit. I would always be very reasonable in what I say. Maybe I wouldn't be as calm as now or as understanding as now. But it's not the end of the world. Like I wasn't even like a beast or a demon that wouldn't let someone speak. So it's just that I've improved on that aspect for sure. The most important things, I think they have been here for a long time, at least towards the 15-16 mark. But
Or come on,
the
until
at least from the 15-16 years old, that's when
um,
I turned some kind of awareness. But yeah, before then, I would maybe say even similar things, but I didn't have the awareness. like I lived in my little bubble, it's like maybe I had some awareness of some of the things that immediately surrounded me. So if we talked about my family or my friends, I'd have more awareness than others, yeah. But I don't know, if we talked about maybe myself or the broader picture of people, I probably wouldn't have been able to say much before the 15 mark. But of course, even now, I'm not so different from that kid, the 13, 14 years old kid. It's just because I don't know yet. I'm gonna be maybe in 5, 6, 7 years, I'm gonna reach another point of now finally I have more awareness.
Do you think that?
I think it's a possibility. It's very unlikely because that it's unlikely because I can see that as a kid I didn't have the chance to check that many things. Like if I had awareness as a kid, I still wouldn't be able to say so because I wouldn't be able to check my awareness with the rest of the people. And
Because of the power you had?
no, because I wasn't cultured. And that's very simple. Cultured, I mean, and I didn't have the knowledge of others. So now what makes me feel like I reached a point that is a little bit hard to think that there's another point beyond is because of all the times that I've challenged myself. And it's like whatever I find out there is either stuff that more or less agrees with me or that I can criticize. So, and I'm talking about very respectable figures or not respectable figures, the most random person out there. So if I pick up a book of someone that is very respected and well thought of and I read it, I either kind of agree or it's kind of similar, or again, there's not much room to think, oh fuck, I missed this, it's like so these kind
of course there's still the possibility, right?
yeah,
like
there's a possibility because of course I'm comparing myself to other people that are probably flawed just like me, and that's why sometimes I say that the answers some new answers we can only hope to get if we actually get into physics and study and as a group of people. Because even if you get into physics, is really like, even if I study physics, the reality is that it doesn't make you probably, well, I don't know if it's a reality, but I feel like the reality is probably the fact that I study physics, but as an individual, I still wouldn't get to any fucking answer. Maybe as a group, as researchers, at some point, we get to a little answer that will help another group of researchers to get to a bigger answer. But of course, even if this is true, I should still give it a try anyway. I shouldn't be like, oh, because I wouldn't get the answers I want, then I don't become a physics. No. So yeah, I still think that probably those kind of fields now hold more answers than others. Because again, if I go into literature, into art, into these kind of things, I think they're needed because they still hold a lot of answers that are vital to get to other answers. But at the same time, they have their limits. But yeah, I suppose all of them are complementary in a way or another, to be honest. It's hard to say which one is more important. I do think a little bit physics has the uppercut. That's why sometimes my mind drifts that way, maybe. Or maybe I just get it eluded that that's the case. But surely all of them are needed because, yeah, physicians are just researchers. Even if they get to some kind of answer, their perception of the answer, I think, is a little bit flawed. If can be very vulnerable, let's say, to things if they don't have the other skills from other fields, the other answers. Let's say. But anyway, I don't know why we're talking so much about me once again. Yeah, it's not gonna help you. These answers of my past, they're not gonna give you. I don't know if it's just curiosity, or you want to hear again these things, or if you think that you're gonna get some help in your research for change or whatever.
I mean, I just like, I know that you already told me most of these things, but I like hearing it. And
That's cute. That's cute. You look like a little kid that is ready for bedtime, wants to hear the usual good old story that they like so much.
yeah.
But the good old story is just me, which is very cute. But
What did you say? Google
like,
story.
the good old story is me. It's not even just something cute. So it's even more flattering. So.
Yeah, but what I like is, I mean, I like many things, but of course, also, I mean, I feel bad and for, I know if I make you repeat things, and I know that it's not.
This is no. In this kind of context, it's fine. If you want to repeat it because you like hearing it and you think you know it, it's totally fine. No, I mean, I can repeat it until next year. I don't care. The problem is when you repeat it because you seem to lack the knowledge that you should have. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I suppose there's been a lot of things that have been said. Some of them maybe might have sounded like contradictions. I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if I said some things that maybe sounded like contradicting myself and all that throughout all of this conversation. I mean,
I didn't hear contradictions, I think, but I don't know, maybe I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know, because
Maybe not.
me neither, but at the same time, it's true that I said, oh, the important thing is this, but it doesn't matter this, and blah, 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 so who knows. But anyway, it's fine because this is recording on Twitch.
What? On Twitch?
Yeah. Well, because I was recording Final Fantasy, because you had to play.
Oh, shit.
So
Yeah, but that's a very bad excuse.
no, it's not an
Making
excuse.
me
I kept
bring
it because I checked.
I
After a
know.
while, I checked. I was like, oh, but I kept it like that, going. But it's good. It's good. So we put it here, and then we put it on YouTube. And in 20 years, we listen. You'll be like, oh my God, look what kind of fascist you were, and look at me, even loving you for that. Yeah, I was, of course, not you. How can you be fascist?
Well, that's true. I'm too weak to be fascist. Only the best can be, to be honest.
I want to meet some fascist women from those times, though.
They were the worst, I think. Okay. I think my grandma was a bit like this.
True, actually. Yeah, but who knows how she was when she was young? So.
Actually, both grandmas, to be honest.
Because I mean, because now I can imagine women that are fascist. Now it's easy, but at the time I want to meet, because at the time it's a little bit different, maybe, because they were
Like,
more.
to be honest, like if I think, for example, those times, right? Like in the example that I can have is my grandmothers. They both, I mean, it can be by chains or, of course, but they both were like the fastest ones of the family, while the men that were with them, they were completely, I don't know, like weak and like very.
True. I mean, in your case, yeah.
In my
Seems.
case, yeah, I know that.
But that would make sense because what I'm saying is it's hard for me to imagine fascist women of those times. Well, to put it simply, it's gonna sound very simple in a bad way, but now it's like women are less of a victim, right? But at the time they were one of the victims, and if you're a fascist, you make victims. You're not a victim, you know what I mean? So like, how can a woman that is a victim of society, let's say, in a way that is kind of present apparently from those times, feel like victimizing others, or even be in a position of victimizing others? So like a joke. It's like the fat guy that is bullying another fat guy. You know what I mean?
point, if they have the power, they just do it. Like they are
Yeah. I'm
fastest.
just saying something very silly
So
that probably exists and it's very normal and they exist even now. But I don't know. It's weird to imagine them. I don't even know why we're talking about this. Oh, because I
Yeah,
compared.
just you love Hitler and all these people. But are you
Shmi
still
Ilducha.
recording?
Yeah. I am. I don't. Well,
for
yeah, I don't love Hitler, of course. It's a joke.
joke,
Yeah.
lol, X.
Lol, like See, you're
Yeah, high
perfect for Twitch, man.
beautiful, very.
If you put some effort into streaming, like being
But I'm
yourself, but a little bit
shy.
more. Yeah, exactly. But your shy is perfect. It's still content. But if you put more, like more vocal, if you were a little bit more vocal, even in your shyness, even in your timidness, it will be. And then if you turn on the camera, well, it's over. It's done. It's just done. We're rich and we can move on with our lives. But we're not
I
even
think it's
rich. We don't
like
need to be
you.
rich. We just have a job and we enjoy what we do. That's all. We don't need to be rich. Fuck rich. You just
But do you think I would enjoy that, or maybe I would feel
well, maybe initially no, but at some point,
very, I don't know, like exposed
no.
to.
Maybe initially no. Initially no, but at some point you
Hello?
become. It's like when you become an area girl. You become an area girl. You don't like it at first, but then you
Wait,
become
I'm
one.
gonna remove the Wi-Fi because I hear you like shit for some reason.
I can't believe I just wasted 3 hours of my life instead of playing the game, talking about shit.
Yeah, no. You could have added 3 more hours.
No, now I have to be
Um,
awake until 5 o'clock. It's just fuck.
no, please. No.
No, but I have very little work in my queue. But I'm scared tomorrow. I think they're gonna drop shit in my queue because I have too little work. So it's like they're gonna see it, especially my manager, because today my manager wasn't in, and that's probably why they didn't drop stuff on me. But tomorrow she's gonna see.
So then tomorrow, I mean, it's been because you've been on holidays, so now you
Yeah.
have a lot of work accumulated for
And
sure.
someone already
That's how it
passed to me
works.
something around 3 o'clock, but I was already doing my business, so I just was like, I'll do tomorrow. So I already have one thing that
I
I
mean,
have to
3 o'clock, 2 hours before
Yeah,
the end
but
of your shift. It's
it's fine.
not tomorrow.
It's fine. I mean, I'm not so privileged. I'm all the time on my own, just reading stuff. Yeah, I think. What was it, yesterday or the day before yesterday? I didn't open my mouth all day. No, for 2 days straight, I didn't say one word. And then I realized because I was watching some funny video, like an old movie, and I laughed a bit out loud, and I was like, wait, I sound crazy. Why am I laughing out loud? You know, even just that. And then
So
I thought,
you,
wait, imagine if I actually talked.
I mean, it has happened to me sometimes. Like, if I don't talk to anyone, I mean, it doesn't happen to me anymore because I usually talk to you. But like, I remember that happened to me eventually. I think when I stayed in Madrid for a weekend, for example, on my own, and I had no flatmates. Then the next day I went to uni and I spoke, and I realized, oh, I haven't talked in days, and it's the first time I talk,
That's good. That's
and
good.
my voice sounds weird, like
Yeah,
sounds like broken, like as if it's doesn't
that's good.
have
It's people that never experienced
oil.
that. It's crazy. I think most people have never
Yeah,
experienced that, but or maybe not. Maybe I would be
Latin
surprised.
is, I mean, a lot of hikomori for sure,
But Japan is different. I think most people in
but it's like
Japan
when
just experience
you.
that. Like they don't talk.
It's like when you eat, I don't know if this happens to you, but many times it happens to me that if I eat after many hours not eating, it hurts a lot when the food comes through
Yeah,
your
of course.
throat.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Pretty much every day
And
for
it
me.
hurts so much. Yeah, I mean, I think actually in your case it's probably worse, yeah. But it hurts so much. It's insane. Like it sounds like you're, but I think I've talked to people that has never experienced that.
Because they
So I don't
fucking
know.
all the time. It was probably merch. Fuck,
But
bitch. No, sorry.
no, but maybe it's because our throats are smaller. Isn't that cute?
Yours is very, very fucking small. Your neck doesn't exist.
Nah, what do you
It's
mean?
physical. It cannot be big. It's just there's no space. What do you mean? It's
Yeah,
like your
it's true,
shoulders.
it's true, it's true, it's true,
What's your
it's true.
lungs, your heart? Like there's no space.
Uh-uh.
And
I think that's
that's
cute.
probably it actually. Why you have trouble breathing and stuff. You have such small lungs. Your chest doesn't exist.
Damn, doctor.
Nah, but
I'm
it would make
just gonna
sense. Come on.
go to the doctor and tell them.
I know science never works like this, but yeah, you should though, because
What
they're
about the
shit.
fucking babies?
The babies. Well, because they. I mean, wait. Because no, because they're proportionate. So, for the amount of energy they need.
So you mean I'm not
Yeah, because of
proportional?
your head.
Okay.
And
okay.
your ass as well is a little bit too large for your. It's still little, but for your
It's
body, it's
large?
your ass. It's a
My
little bit.
legs. My ass.
Yeah, just a little, because you still little,
Mm.
but for your body maybe it's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think it's too much too. It's insane.
But no, it's more like, okay, it's more like maybe everything is little, but you are tall, and a kid is not tall.
Yeah, I'm tall.
So
I know.
it's
I
like,
understand what
there
you
you go.
mean. I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Science proven in 5 minutes and a half.
No, but in reality, if you were a doctor, you would be very good.
Touching people? Yeah,
Like-
no, very softly.
No, but don't say these things if you're alive. But if you are a doctor, you probably, I mean, you're very smart in general, right? Actually, you know, we have to do this test.
About? I cannot even read a page without
No,
losing
listen.
focus.
We have to do this test, okay?
Don't tell me the personality test.
No, not personality. Like to know if we are super smart.
Oh, the IQ shit. But nah, I'm gonna be shit. I'm not good.
No, but it's okay. No, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
I've already done it. I'm shit.
Wait, what? You've done it without me?
A long time ago, like with Valentina. I think
Okay, we'll do it. Oh my god, we'll do it together. Don't worry.
I could have said the name of any girl. I would have said, "Oh my god."
Because apparently I found out that my oh shit, yeah, true. I found out that my sister
Yeah, she's a prodigy, isn't she?
yeah, like they did some kind of this test to her, like, and they said that she was like almost, you know, some shit like that.
Yeah,
like
almost
she
a
was like
prodigy.
in the limit.
Yeah, but it makes
some shit
sense.
like
Look at her.
and and then this her girlfriend, I don't know, they were talking about this. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about, but the girlfriend started doing this test. And
Couldn't finish
I was
it.
like, it was insane. Like she was like, but what the fuck is this? Like, and like very focused and stuff. And it's so much cringe too, because it's like, what the fuck are you doing? But then I was thinking, fuck yeah, we have to do this test together. Maybe, we can have
But
fun.
is it true that you can like train a bit for it though? I think you can train for
I
it.
have no. I mean, for sure. I mean, for what I saw, I only saw like her phone, a moment, and there was like squares and stuff like that. You know, like
Yeah,
oh,
because like
square, and you
at
have to
least some of
find.
it is like logic. So if you're good at maths, it's
Yeah.
like because that's what it is, isn't it? It's not to do with
Yeah, but at least
maths,
it's not. I think it's not exactly like directly maths. Which I like, because if it was like that, I would fail for sure. I would be
No,
retarded.
but it's like it's logic. It's like sometimes it's like the things that made me do, they made me do in Sigma. It's like, oh, you've got this number of squares and the faces of squares are like this. What do you think is this? Where's the shade?
But it looked disgusting. Like imagine like measuring these things like
I mean, I
that.
can understand because the people that apply for Sigma are fucking. Well, I'm not gonna say. But you have to discard some of the people that really cannot even breathe.
I mean, I have to say
I'm
that.
joking, of course. I'm joking.
I have to say, I don't think you're joking, but I have to say that, in fact, they admitted, I mean, that test doesn't work. They admitted specific people, to be honest.
True.
Well,
I think they do it, and then if they have enough offer, and then when they see that all of the people that applied are like that, they're like, okay, we have to pick and choose, guys. We have to just pull them out of the hat. Anyway, I'm very busy. I don't know why I didn't tell you this 3 hours ago, saying I'm very busy. But you're not gonna play, of course, right? Can I go and play?
no, yeah. I think I'm gonna go pick up the clothes, because I put them around in the house. Maybe I eat something quick, very, very quick, and then we can play. So that, yeah, I do that, and we can
How
play.
long do you think it's gonna take? Do I have time to go downstairs and cook
Yeah, I
some?
mean, well, I don't know, like half an hour.
Maybe I do. Okay. I'll try.
Okay. Okay, I think there's some leftover soup, so I don't have to cook anything. Or
Oh, it's so nice. It's so
that's
beautiful.
what my dad said before. But yeah,
Leftover soup. Couldn't wait. Jesus fucking Christ.
then it's so
You
unexpected.
make me feel like a lucky kid with my frozen shit.
You don't understand good things yet. You're very smart, but not so much.
I'm not this, Sofia. Can you please drop that idea? I am very much not smart.
Yeah.
I cannot
I'm
even
gonna
read one
create
page
our
anymore.
own test.
Goodbye.
It's insane. Okay.